Wednesday night, they travel back Thursday. How are they going to cope with playing then Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock? It'll be interesting, Ian.
They just had the one training session and then they flew down to the south coast and stayed obviously in Southampton last night. Liverpool, as the game is underway. Liverpool are in the change strip, the dark grey, with Southampton in their red and white striped shirts and black shorts. Southampton playing from left to right. The two teams, Angus Gunn in goal for Southampton, back three of Yoshida, Vestergaard and Bednarak, Valerie the right wing back, Ryan Bertrand the left wing back, in the centre of midfield Højbjerg, Ward-Prowse, and then Redmond and Che Adams, as well as Romeo as well, of course, in the centre of midfield there for Southampton. Liverpool, Adrian is fit. He had been a doubt, but he makes his first Premier League start for Liverpool. They have three ex-Southampton players, and one of them here is Oxlade-Chamberlain running forward. He's yet to score against Southampton. He plays it out to Alexander-Arnold, delivers the ball to the far post. Firmino with a downward header, cleared away by Vestergaard, and it comes to Robertson. So Liverpool have Adrian in goal, a back four of Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk and Robertson. And then you have Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Milner and Wijnaldum, and the front three, Salah, Firmino and Mane. Cross from Alexander-Arnold, repelled by the head, the long hair of Yannick Vestergaard, the Danish defender, on the edge of the penalty area. Good atmosphere when the Saints go marching in, is being sung by the Southampton supporters for their first home game of the season. And Ralph Hasenhüttl is in his technical area with his hands on his hips, whereas Jurgen Klopp, dressed all in black with his baseball cap, has his hands behind his back watching on. A man who is known to have occasionally a baseball cap when he was in the technical area, isn't wearing one in the commentary box today, but it's still an interesting start to the game with Southampton trying to get forward at every opportunity.
Well, just for the listeners at home, Southampton are playing with the five at the back and three in midfield, but with Redmond dropping in, so almost making a diamond. So he'll sit on Wijnaldum or Milner and try and stop them from getting the ball off the back two players. What Liverpool will do, and this is the way they'll cause Southampton problems, if you look at the pitch now, Ian, the opposite fullback from the ball on the side of the ball.
That's the voice of Tony Pulis. This is the voice of Pat Murphy. Penalty at Villa Park
to Bournemouth in front of the Holt end, and it's going to be taken by Josh King. This after the keeper Heaton clattered into Callum Wilson, and the referee Martin Atkinson had no doubt. Here comes King, and he's sent him the wrong way, and he's put Bournemouth into the lead after 1 minute. This is not in the Villa supporters' script. After 1 minute, it's Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 1.
And there's been an early goal in the Championship too at Stoke City. Sohail Sahi, hold on, we're going to break, because Milner is coming forward. Milner to the edge of the D, shot takes a deflection, loops into the hands of the goalkeeper Angus Gunn. Sohail Sahi.
And it's gone to Derby, Ian, an early goal after 3 minutes. Good move down the middle of the pitch, and it was Martin Waghorn who glided it past Jack Butland. More pressure on Nathan Jones. Stoke City 0, Derby County 1.
We have a problem, by the way, because every time something's happening, you're digging me in the ribs. I could be battered and bruised by the end of today. You've already done it about 2 or 3 times. We've only been playing for 3 minutes.
Well, I'm just, like I said, I'm just looking at the shape of the team. I think he's offside. Yeah, Adams was made his run far too early then. No, I'm just looking at the shape of the team here, and like I say, Southampton's strength will be down the middle of the pitch, because that's where all their players are. They only have 2 players wide, that's their wing backs. And if you look at Liverpool got 4 players wide, and Salah and Mane ain't too bad.
No.
So they'll push their wing backs back, and then they'll allow the 2 full backs, Arnold and Robertson, to run forward. So that's where I think all the trouble for Southampton will come.
Peterborough United, who've lost their opening 2 games in League One, are behind at London Road. Peterborough 0, Ipswich Town 1 is a latest score there. And as we've already brought you that news of Josh King's goal for Bournemouth at Aston Villa. Bournemouth actually began in life in the Premier League 4 years ago with a home game against Aston Villa. They were beaten by a goal to 0. Liverpool are in possession. Firmino drops deep. He's into the centre circle. The sun is shining, but his ball out to Alexander-Arnold was too far ahead of him. Liverpool in all grey, goes out of play. It's a Southampton throw. 4.5 minutes played, 0-0. Mentioned Salah as well, Tony. He's scored 5 goals in his 4 games against Southampton, and you do get it, don't you, at times where you have that as a player, where you just have a bit of a lucky streak or some sort of Indian sign over him?
Yeah, you do, but he's a top player. He's scored enough goals against other teams as well, Ian. But he's a top player. But it's interesting because what Klopp has done, he's pushed the three of them up there, and the two of them are drifting in between their wing backs and their centre halves, and making it difficult for them, or making it not so easy to pick up a mark. But they're leaving the outside players on the opposite side of the pitch free. So if Liverpool can switch it quick, they're going to get real 2-on-1 situation, real dangerous positions.
Ball from Alexander-Arnold has gone astray. Then Southampton have given it straight to Salah. Forward ball to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, right-hand side. Crosses the ball in. Running back was James Ward-Prowse. Heads it behind for a corner kick. We welcome listeners to the BBC World Service, wherever you may be. Good afternoon from the south coast of England. Here we are in the sunshine at St Mary's. It's been Southampton's home, of course, since 2001. It's a sellout for their first home game of this new Premier League campaign against the Liverpool side, who've won their last 4 in the league against Southampton. It's 0-0. Liverpool have a corner kick. They're in all grey. They're playing from right to left. It's over on that far side, and it's headed away by Valery at the near post. Headed back by Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, one of 3 ex-Saints players. Drilled on the half volley by Milner. Blocks. Matip plays the ball out. Right corner of the penalty area. Alexander-Arnold looks to go on the outside, and it was Che Adams who was back there on defensive duties. So 0-0 here. We know that Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 1 is the latest score. Let's get an update from Carrow Road. John Southall.
Norwich 0, Newcastle 0, but all Norwich in the Suffolk sunshine. Good early chance. Pukki down the right hand side, picked out Campbell on the turn 5 yards out, but there was Dubravka to save with his legs. 0-0.
We heard from Simon Grayson. He was live on 5 Live Sport earlier this afternoon, and his side lead Oxford United. They are top of the table in League 1. Blackpool 1, Oxford United 0. League 2, Bradford City lead Oldham Athletic by a goal to 0, of course managed by the former Blackpool manager in Gary Bowyer. Right, Rugby Union World Cup warm-up game. Wales against England. Jamie Lyle.
It's advantage Wales at the interval. George North's try converted by Dan Biggar, who's also added a first half penalty. The difference here in Cardiff. Wales looking very good value for their 10-0 lead at the interval.
Don't forget tomorrow Sports Week with Jonathan Ledyard. Brendan Rodgers is amongst one of Jonathan's guests tomorrow. That's between 9 and 10. And Leicester City, Brendan Sider at Chelsea. 2 games tomorrow. Don't forget 5 Live Premier League Sunday with a squad from 11:30, and then 5 Live Sport from 12:30. You'll get the best possible build-up to all of the Premier League action, as Adrian was almost closed down by James Ward-Prowse, and in fact Ward-Prowse got something on it. It's gone behind for a goal kick. Good intensity there from the England international.
Yeah, Southampton played very well then. They've got at the sides of them. The goalkeeper looked a little bit reluctant to kick first time there, Ian, so I don't know whether he is still carrying a little bit of an injury over from Wednesday night.
He was a doubt, wasn't he, with that swollen ankle after the pitch invader had slipped into him at Istanbul. Jurgen Klopp yesterday pleading with supporters to stay off the pitch as Liverpool are now on the attack. Alexander-Arnold, that's the second ball that is given away rather cheaply. Che Adams now has it for Southampton, who play from left to right. Colchester United lead Cambridge United by a goal to 0. Ball through the middle. Here is Che Adams, and Adrian was quickly off his goal line. Good anticipation there by the Liverpool goalkeeper, because as soon as Adams has brought the ball under control, he's faced by the keeper decked out all in green right in front of him.
Yeah, he did well there. Fantastic save.
BBC Radio 5 Live. Tony Pulis in the commentary box with us here as Liverpool now with Alexander-Arnold. Forward ball looking towards Mane, and quickly off his goal line in it's like a sky blue, all in sky blue there is Angus Gunn. Of course he was a sky blue. He was signed for £10 million last year, rising potentially to £13.5 million for Angus Gunn, the son of Brian. We'll keep you in touch with his former club, Norwich City, at home to Newcastle. Everton, Watford, Juliet Farrington's there at Goodison Park. Brighton, West Ham, and Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 1. Already is a latest scoreline from Villa Park with that Josh King penalty, as Oxlade-Chamberlain finds Milner. Henderson, who's on the bench with Fabinho, to Andrew Robertson now. Head down over the halfway line. Mane's inside. Here is the former Southampton player, and then Mane to another ex-Saint in Van Dijk. Back with Milner once again. Milner looks up, using all of his years of experience, and every player is back in their own half for Southampton as Liverpool go back to Van Dijk. There are a few murmurs, just a few boos there for Virgil van Dijk. Nothing like Dejan Lovren scale boos for whenever he returns. As Liverpool go all the way back to Adrian, and we'll go back to Carrow Road and John Southall.
Lively here, Norwich 0, Newcastle 0. Second chance for Norwich. Pukki on the turn, wide of the left-hand post. Good chance of that. Then Kraft on his debut for Newcastle. Blasted one wide from the right of the area. And I think I said the Suffolk Sun a moment ago. I meant Norfolk. Don't want to get those mixed up. 0-0.
We knew that. Goal at Goodison, Juliet Farrington.
Where Everton have taken the lead against Watford. Bernard in the 11th minute. It's been coming because Everton have been piling on the pressure since the game kicked off. He latched onto a shot, fired past Ben Foster in the Watford goal. Everton lead Watford by 1-0.
But a very good track record of in recent years of winning their opening game at the start of the season for Everton. And Watford, in fact, have never actually won at Goodison, winless in all of their 13 visits. They should have won last year, threw it away really that night. Anyway, they're behind. Everton 1, Watford 0. The other game in the Premier League where there's been a goal is at Villa Park. How have Villa responded? Pat Murphy.
Frenetically, McGinn, as always, in the thick of the action. A dipping, swerving volley 25 yards out. Tipped over the bar by the keeper Ramsdale. But at the other end, though, Fraser looks dangerous. They're not picking him up. It was his deft through ball that led to the penalty. And at the moment, Bournemouth are ahead. 1-0 through a penalty from Josh King.
Not missing any of the action here. It's just slowed down a touch. It's gone out of play for a throw to Southampton. Allows us to nip along the south coast to Brighton. Tony Husband.
Brighton 0, West Ham 0. A warm afternoon along the coast in Sussex, and a chance inside 60 seconds for the home side. Dan Burns, 6'6" central defender, heading a Pascal Gross free kick just over the top. Brighton 0, West Ham 0.
Headed forward by Højbjerg. Matip gets in front of Redmond, and then Mane will try and keep it with Liverpool on the halfway line. Runs in toward Prowse, and then the referee, who's Andre Mariner. A suntanned Andre Mariner. I would imagine he spent a lot of time in this part of the world, this beautiful part of the world when the sun shines. It is absolutely glorious, as you know only too well.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Being a bit biased.
Swansea City 0, Preston North End 1 is the latest score in the Championship for Alex Neil's side down at the Liberty Stadium. Ball forward towards Salah, trying to get in between Yoshida and Vestergaard. Back heel to Oxlade-Chamberlain. Oxlade-Chamberlain with the angle drive across the face of goal, out for a goal kick. 0-0. Tony Pulis.
I don't know whether that was a cross or a shot, but great work from Salah. Great ball at the sides of the centre half.
Another goal at Villa Park. Pat Murphy.
Another one to Bournemouth. Harry Wilson, so dangerous outside the box. Left foot shot in off the post. Keeper couldn't get to it. It's Villa 0, Bournemouth 2.
Gareth Bale, by the way, starts for Real Madrid away to Celta Vigo in their first league game. Wycombe Wanderers 1, MK Dons 0, Doncaster Rovers 0, Fleetwood Town 1 is the two latest scores there from League One. Did we cut you off in your prime when you were talking then?
Yeah, very much so, but I won't take it personal.
Tony Pulis is with us here at St Mary's. It's 0-0. It's 5 Live Sport. You can also listen through the BBC Sounds app. The Ashes continues on with the TMS team on 5 Live Sports Extra as the ball is drilled downfield by the Southampton goalkeeper Angus Gunn. It's going to drop to Milner, and he's sliced that, and out of play it goes for a throw. It looked like a rather tired clearance that from James Milner. How much of it do you think is in the mind when people talk about Liverpool being fatigued?
Well, I can only talk about the experience I had at Stoke when we were in the UEFA Cup, but every time we came back, Ian, from a game on a Thursday, and I know it was Thursday and Sundays, you just couldn't get as much out of the lads. I thought that, I think our record 11 games in that competition, and we only won one game coming back from. So it was really, really, really tough. But they're a great team, Liverpool. They've got great players, and they've certainly got enough on the bench if they have to change one or two to liven it up.
This is a Liverpool side who've lost one only of their last 40 in the Premier League, and that was of course at the start of January against Manchester City as Matip cuts that ball out on the edge of the penalty area. Had Che Adams running in behind him. Che Adams making his home debut after he arrived from Birmingham City for £15 million. It's a throw over on that far side, the left, that Ryan Bertrand is going to take. We're approaching the quarter of an hour mark as that's been hooked behind for a goal kick. No other goals to tell you about around the country. Mention the Ashes. Let's get the latest from Lords with Ellie.
Bright sunshine here at Lord's. 218 for 6 is the Australian score. They're 40 runs behind, so we haven't lost another wicket. But Steve Smith, we are waiting to find out how he is after he was hit on the side of a head by a Jofra Archer bouncer in one of the most rapid periods of English fast bowling we've seen for many, many years. Peter Siddle is on 9, Pat Cummins is on 14. We could have another batsman for Australia if Steve Smith is ruled to be concussed. Australia 218 for 6, 40 runs behind.
In-play highlights, of course, are on the BBC Sport website. Commentary on 5 Live Sports Extra with the TMS team. There's a Southampton player who has got a bit of a knock there. That's James Ward-Prowse, who only now is getting himself back to his
he'll be all right.
feet.
Yeah, Milner's just caught him a little bit, but he'll be fine.
Milner's actually getting patched up on this near side as well by the Liverpool physio, just getting treated there above the right eye. So there is a stoppage in play. This will be uncontested drop ball now that Andre Mariner will eventually give to Liverpool, I would think, unless Southampton to Redmond and knock it back to Liverpool when play resumes. 16 minutes played, 0-0. Bournemouth lead Aston Villa by 2-0, and Everton are 1-0 up at home to Watford.
He might have to go off and have some stitches here, Ian, looking at it.
Yeah, he is coming off the field of play. Just got a cut just above the right eye, so James Milner is going down the touchline. Liverpool are temporarily down to 10 men. Let's dip into the Championship. Oakwell, Naz Premji.
Barnsley 0, Charlton 0. Charlton the better chances. Lyle Taylor with a cross. Purrington across the face of goal. Barnsley 0, Charlton 0.
Mane's on the attack, left-hand side of the penalty area. Cross takes a block, and then it comes to Wijnaldum on the run. He heads it forward. Robertson now midway through the Southampton half on this near side, the left. Nottingham Forest lead Birmingham City by 1-0 in the Championship at the City Ground as the ball is up towards Salah. Vestergaard holds him off. Salah, though, has the ball at his feet. Højbjerg and Romeo actually dispossess him. Ball up towards Redmond, takes it on the left thigh, runs forward. Left corner of the penalty area. Oxlade-Chamberlain is back there helping out. Redmond's forced out wide, and then Oxlade-Chamberlain will usher the ball behind for a corner kick. Good break by the home side.
Yeah, very good. It started with Romero in midfield who won the ball very well, and there was a great ball at the side again of Matic, and Redmond's got great pace, Ian. He'll cause anybody problems if there's a race.
Scunthorpe United, who are yet to win in League 2, are behind at home to Crawley. Scunthorpe United 0, Crawley Town 1, 17 minutes played. Milner's still off the field of play as James Ward-Prowse is going to take the corner kick over on that far side. Ward-Prowse delivers, in it comes now. Yoshida was there, only partially dealt with, and then as it's fired back in by Adams, it runs off the knees of Yoshida. The applause in the background, by the way, in the 18th minute is in memory of Southampton's long-time PA announcer, Justin Gladys, who spent 18 seasons with Southampton, who sadly passed away, and that is the reason why there is such applause, and in fact a standing ovation by some Southampton supporters here at St Mary's. 0-0. You're listening to 5 Live Sport. Scottish League Cup second round. Celtic Dunfermline ready for side.
And we're just past the quarter hour mark here. Celtic 0, Dunfermline 0. Celtic ringing a lot of changes, as I was saying in the team news earlier. But it was Dunfermline who showed first with Nesbitt up against Craig Gordon 1-1, and happily for this sparse crowd of Celtic supporters, he pushed it past the far post. Celtic 0, Dunfermline 0.
Luton Town lead West Bromwich Albion by 1-0 in the Championship. A latest score at Kenilworth Road. Still Milner is off the field of play. Liverpool is still temporarily down to 10 as Southampton with Adams holding the ball up and working it in field. Romeo in the centre circle to Vestergaard, and we'll nip back to the Championship and another one of Tony's former clubs at Stoke. Sahel Sahi.
Still Stoke 0, Derby 1, but Stoke have carved out an opportunity. Sam Klukas with a stupid header tipped onto the post by the Derby goalkeeper, and then Joe Allen pounced on the loose ball and missed from 2 yards away. Stoke 0, Derby 1.
Valerie goes on the outside of Robertson. He's overrun it. He's run it behind for a goal kick. Bournemouth still lead at Aston Villa 2-0. Everton 1, Watford 0. Goalless at Brighton, Norwich, and here at St Mary's.
It'll be desperate to get Milner back on the pitch and make it 11 against 11.
He's been off for some time now, hasn't he? Must be a lot of work that is being required to patch up the tough Yorkshireman. 19 minutes played. Goal kick taken short. Van Dijk goes back to Adrian, clears away, right-footed, headed straight back by Bertrand. Got plenty of distance on that header, and Matip's looping header back towards Adrian was misdirected, and he's conceded a corner by doing so. Corner kick to Southampton.
Yeah, it was very sloppy play all round. Even the kick-off. When Adrian kicked it, it was nowhere near any of the Liverpool players anyway. But they win the header and go back, and Matic has headed it behind. Liverpool line up your zonal, and I think there's always a chance. If you get a run at that flat line, you've got a chance of winning the ball. They're stood, you're on the move. If there's good quality coming in, there's always an opportunity to win that ball.
Well, James Ward-Prowse is known for his quality from set pieces, and it comes now. Good save by Adrian to keep out a Yoshida header. That was an excellent ball in. Curling dropped on the 6-yard box, beaten out by Adrian. Liverpool are now on the break. Salah being shackled by Romeo, and Southampton win the ball back. You said about a good ball in, and that was exactly that. Either side of the goalkeeper, he maybe scores. It was straight at him, still forced a good save out of him.
Fabulous delivery in from Ward-Prowse. Fabulous delivery, and he's had a run at them, and like I say, they're stood still. Someone on the move who can get a run in and a jump. I think if the ball's right, then you'll win.
Milner is back on the field of play. He's got his head bandaged, but Liverpool are now back to their full entitlement. There's been a wicket at the cricket. Eleanor Oldroyd at Lords.
Well, extraordinary here, Ian, because Steve Smith is coming back out after Peter Siddle was caught behind off the bowling of Chris Wokes. Steve Smith returning to the centre, having been hit on the back of the neck, hit on the arm by Jofra Archer as well. Alex Stewart, I mean, we're seeing people around the ground just in disbelief, but standing applauding him. I mean, what an extraordinary man.
Yeah, it is, but it speaks volumes of the man himself. It shows that you have to have bravery to be a top player. Credit also to the medical team because they've checked him out. It'd be interesting to see now, though, if Joe Root brings back Jofra Archer, bowled to him straight away. Yeah,
we've got the new ball. We've got Wokes and we've got Broad bowling, but Steve Smith is going to resume on 80 not out. Australia 40 runs behind on 218 for 7.
Thank you, Ellie. And Alec, commentary continues on 5 Live Sports Extra. Hibs lead Morton by a 1-0. Doncaster Rovers have equalised at home to Fleetwood in League One. So Milner's back on the field of play. Whilst we've just been away at the cricket, Southampton had another corner kick. Liverpool just rocking a fraction.
Well, Southampton have taken the steam out of the game. What we talked about at the beginning of the match, they've taken their time off throw-ins. They've just slowed everything down, and I think they need to do that. They need to play at their tempo, not Liverpool's tempo. Liverpool want a quick game, they want a fluent game, and Southampton have slowed it down, and they've got to liven themselves up a little bit, Liverpool.
Nottingham Forest have got a second goal at home to Birmingham City. Mane's ball has now been put back into the penalty area of his own box, cleared away by the bandaged James Milner, and Liverpool have a little bit of a respite midway through their own half that Milner will come across to take midway through his own half. Wigan Athletic are down to 10 men, so they're playing Leeds United in the Championship, but they are down to 10 men at home there. Joe Williams has been sent off, ball into the penalty area, just eludes Roberto Firmino as it dropped in a diagonal ball, and it runs out of play for a goal kick. And I mentioned that red card at Wigan. Details from Adam Cottier.
Yes, it's the Wigan midfielder Joe Williams has been sent off. 2 yellow cards, the first for a tackle on Stuart Dallas, the second for tackling Patrick Bamford when tackling back. A red card by the referee Andy Madley, and as they did at Ellen Road in April, Wigan are going to have to play the majority of this game with 10 men. It's 0-0.
I don't think from memory, did they win that game at Ellen Road? I certainly don't think they
did win it 2-1. I'm not sure.
I think they did. I think it was another one of those occasions where Leeds United dropped points as they floundered in the closing stages last year, as in the end the ultimate disappointment losing to the in the playoffs. So against the 10 men of Wigan, going to be hard for Wigan though to try and repeat that today with that dismissal after 21 minutes. Let's go to Carrow Road. John Southall's at Norwich Newcastle,
where it's 0-0, but a second chance for Timu Pukki on the right of the 6-yard box. Tight angle, good save from Dubravka at his near post. Norwich 0, Newcastle 0.
Brighton, Tony Husband.
0-0, and Brighton have gone close again. They picked the tempo up a little bit. They needed to the last few minutes. Dale Stephens with a 25-yarder, just tipped over the top by Fabianski in the West Ham goal. 0-0.
Ward-Prowse heads the ball forward. It's still goalless here at St Mary's. Mane comes back to help out his side. No free kick, despite the Southampton supporters appealing for one. Over on that far side, it runs out of play. It'll be a Southampton throw, but they're in the midway point of the Liverpool half. We'll go to Merseyside. Juliet Farrington.
Where Everton feel they should just be awarded a penalty. We're just watching here Dominic Calvert-Lewin going down in the area, but the referee Lee Mason has said no, we're waiting to see if it goes to VAR. It doesn't seem to have been at the moment, but just before that happened, Watford went close to an equaliser from their second corner. Craig Dawson rising the highest, and off the far post it bounced off the woodwork. Still Everton lead by 1-0.
Free kick comes in for Southampton. Liverpool had a very high line to deal with that free kick from James Ward-Prowse, and when it drops into the penalty area it runs out of play for a goal kick. Burton 0, Rotherham United 1 is a later score. Goal kick then to Liverpool. Villa Park, Pat Murphy.
Bournemouth still lead 2-0 through King's penalty, and Harry Wilson 25 yards deflected by Mings in off the post. At the other end, McGinn shot blocked by the keeper, but up front Bournemouth are elusive, they're mobile, they're asking lots of questions. It's Villa 0, Bournemouth 0, Bournemouth 2.
Valerie just keeps the ball in play. Liverpool look to win it back with Wijnaldum. Snapping into the challenge there was Redmond. Valerie now, Liverpool are pressing, and as a result of that pressing they win the ball, and then Wijnaldum opens it up, but it goes over the head of Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold though will keep the ball in play over on that far side. He's on the halfway line as Liverpool now have some rare spell of possession. 26 minutes played, because Southampton have had, as Jurgen Klopp encourages Van Dijk to play it out to Robertson on the near side.
They're just not moving the ball quick enough. You can see Klopp getting more and more frustrated. They've just got to play with a quicker tempo and play across the pitch. They play down one side of the pitch. Southampton players are coming right across the field, and the spaces, Ian, as you can see, is just opposite side of the pitch all the time. It's in, get it out and switch, and then they get 2 against 1. They'll get 2 against 1 all the time.
Goal at Ewood Park in the Championship. Blackburn Rovers lead Middlesbrough by 1-0. Blackburn, who are yet to pick up any points. Tony Mowbray against one of his former sides, managed of course now by Jonathan Woodgate, and I'm told John Southall, Pookie could have had a hat-trick at Carrow Road.
Well, he could have had a hat-trick, 12 yards out, saved by Dubravka, but Newcastle should be ahead. Joan Linton, the new signing, 7 yards out, free header, put it wide of the left-hand post. Steve Bruce, head in his hands. Norwich 0, Newcastle 0.
There has been a goal though at Brighton. Tony Husband.
Brighton are in front, Brighton 1, West Ham 0, and it's the home debutant Leandro Trossard who's volleyed a cracker of a goal in from a Dan Burn cross on the left hand side, turned it back into the danger area, and there was Trossard to drill it past Fabianski from close range. Brighton 1, West Ham 0.
Villa 0, Bournemouth 2. Brighton lead, Everton 1, Watford 0. Goalless at Carrow Road, and it's also 0-0 here in the sunshine at St Mary's. Southampton though have had the better of the first half. Adrian with a save to keep out Yoshida's header. Their only worthwhile effort though is for all of their possession, but they have a throw level with the penalty area on that far side, the left, as they play from left to right. Adams, Matip tightly behind him inside the penalty area, works it out of the box. Redmond on that far side comes back to Southampton, and it was Adams who goes to ground inside the penalty area. Andre Mariner quickly positioned and says no penalty. Referee now plays an advantage as Southampton win it back. Across towards Redmond, Bertrand on the overlap, across the face of goal. Adrian with a save, might come to Valerie, still the threat remains. Valerie for Southampton, weak effort, only partially cleared, and eventually it's prodded away by Liverpool. But Liverpool at the minute are having some very awkward moments at the back, and Adrian made in the end a very good save.
Yeah, he did. Unfortunately for the young fullback, it fell on his left foot and he didn't look too comfortable using that left foot. But it's certainly been Southampton in the ascendancy over the last 10 minutes, Ian.
Bertrand's low ball in, and he hesitated, and in the end it was a rather tame effort. VAR involved at Brighton. Tony Husband.
They've chalked it off, so it's Brighton 0, West Ham 0. They spotted an offside from the original free kick that was swung in, from which Dan Burn then crossed the ball in for Trossard to not score. 0-0.
You'll see it for yourself on Match of the Day tonight, 10:30 on BBC One. Peterborough have equalised in League One. Peterborough 1, Ipswich Town 1. Liverpool are on the attack. It's 0-0. Alexander-Arnold crosses the ball. Robertson, left corner of the penalty area, looks up. Robertson with a good ball into the penalty area, headed away by Bednarak, comes out towards Wijnaldum, steers the ball back out towards Robertson, feeds it back towards Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum in the penalty area, goes inside the 6-yard box, saved at the near post by goalkeeper Angus Gunn.
That's the first time Liverpool have been in the Southampton box for 10 minutes, Ian. And it's because they've changed play quickly. And like Robertson's got 2 crosses in there. But both fullbacks are spare. If they can get the ball to him further up the pitch, then they'll be in really good positions to open Southampton up.
Looking to try and run in behind the wing-backs. Van Dijk with the header. Headed back by Højbjerg. Wijnaldum now to Milner. Been playing for half an hour. BBC Radio 5 Live.
If he switches at the other side of the pitch, the space and the spare players that Liverpool have got, they've got 2 now. They've got 3 against 2.
Ball went infield to Oxlade-Chamberlain, bounced off his chest and ran away from him a little bit, and then Valerie has ushered the ball out thinking it was going to be a goal kick, and in fact it's a Liverpool corner kick. He just switched off there, and Liverpool now on the half hour have a corner as the sun has disappeared. Just clouds over a fraction. Still a bright afternoon though down on the south coast. Carlisle United 0, Mansfield Town 1 is the latest score at Brunton Park in League 2. This will be an outswinging corner then for Mo Salah. Arms aloft, Liverpool in all grey playing from right to left. Salah strikes it, left-footed. In comes the outswinger, headed away by Yoshida. Gets enough distance on it, retrieved by Alexander-Arnold, pumped back into the penalty area. Angus Gunn has lost it in the challenge with Van Dijk. Dives on it in the second attempt. Angus Gunn, who became the number 1 under Ralph Hasenhüttl, started 11 of the last 12 games last season. The 23-year-old. Here is Redmond, first touch, looks to try and take it away from Robertson, who was covering in a central area, and he recovered well, didn't he? Just looked like Redmond was going to get away from him.
Yeah, it was a good tackle.
Good awareness as well for the left back to tuck in and to cover at the time as well. Clearance then from Alexander-Arnold on that far side. Yoshida to Romeo, plays it back. Bednarak, Valerie on this near side. Højbjerg wants the ball to feet and gets it just inside the Southampton half. Romeo comes under pressure from Milner inside that centre circle, and Southampton are forced to go back. Lincoln City are leading Southend United by 1-0 at Sincil Bank. They've had an excellent start to life in League One. We talk about Blackpool. We heard from Simon Grayson. They're leading Oxford by 1-0. They're the only 2 teams who've won their opening 2 games, and the Cowley brothers working wonders once more at Sincil Bank as they lead 1-0. And in the Championship, as Salah makes a run into the penalty area, and the angle was going against him, and on the run he screwed it left-footed on the half volley wide. There's been a goal now at Norwich. John Southall.
And the noise will tell you it's gone to Norwich City. Norwich 1, Newcastle 0. It was coming from Pukki, and what a finish. Ball from Bendir on the right of the penalty area, and there was Pukki on the left, on the volley. Lovely strike into the bottom corner. Norwich lead by 0-0.
Goal at Stoke City, Sahel Sahi.
Stoke have equalised. Stoke 1, Derby 1 from a corner kick. It was Liam Lindsay who rose the highest and powered it past Kelleroos. Stoke 1, Derby 1.
12 minutes to go to half time in the sunshine here as it reappears 0-0. What about that chance for Salah? The angle was always going against him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great run and a great pass as well. The space, like I said, the spaces are wide and up the sides, Ian, for Liverpool. And in my opinion, they just haven't done it enough and done it quickly enough. Anyway, the space that Robertson, have a look now that he's got to run in, is enormous.
Then Robertson duly obliges over the halfway line, comes forward, cross ball forward, takes a bit of a deflection from Romeo, loops up in the air, allows Bednarak to clear. Adams beats Wijnaldum in the air, but his header will just run to the feet of Van Dijk. Hibs 2, Morton 0 is the latest score in the Scottish Cup. That'll be the second round there at Easter Road. And Wycombe Wanderers 1, MK Dons 1. So MK Dons have equalised at Adams Park in League One. Liverpool are attacking. Vestergaard goes in for the challenge with Milner. Does it run out of play? It does. And the assistant on that far side says it will be a goal kick. Let's get an update from Wales against England in that warm-up match for the World Cup with Jamie Lyle.
Yeah, the booing you can probably hear in the background there, Ian, is because the England captain Owen Farrell has just been brought off the bench. His team have made a strong start to the second half after trailing 10-0 at the break. George Ford, today's captain, chipping over a penalty. 10-3 to Wales with 52 minutes played.
Bradford City 2, Oldham 0 is the latest score from League 2. Clayton Donaldson has got that second goal at Valley Parade. 0-0 here with 11 minutes to go to half time. Back to Lords. Ellie.
One of the bravest test innings you will ever see. Looks like it's come to an end, and it's Steve Smith who has been given out LBW to a ball by Chris Wokes. They are reviewing it, but it is out. He's on his way back to the pavilion now. There were a few boos, Alex Stewart, as he goes off for 92, Steve Smith, but overwhelming support for Steve Smith.
Yeah, it was. It's a real good bravery, but a real batsman error there, because it's a dead straight ball that he padded up to, didn't play a shot, crashed into his knee roll, knocking out middle stump. He did review it out of hope as much as anything, but proved to be out. Correct decision. Well batted Steve Smith, very brave now. Go and get some real good medical treatment to make sure you are okay to continue in this game.
Yeah, he's walking through the long room at Lords now, and some of the members are patting him on the back and clapping him as he goes by, as he, having been hit on the head by a Jofra Archer bouncer, going at 90 odd miles an hour. 92 for Steve Smith. Australia 234 for 8, 24 runs behind.
Commentary continues on 5 Live Sports Extra with the TMS team. Liverpool have just been awarded a free kick, much to the annoyance of the Southampton supporters, and a goal at Wigan, and that sending off proving costly. Adam Cottier.
Yes, goal for Leeds. Patrick Bamford with it crossed from the right. Adam Forshaw headed against the near post. It fell kindly for Bamford, and he couldn't miss and just scuffed it over the line. It's Wigan 0, Leeds 1.
And to compound their frustration, Romeo has just been shown a yellow card. It was he who'd slid into to Andrew Robertson. Now, whether he's just said something out of turn, because the yellow card took some time in coming from Andre Mariner.
Yeah, it looks a bit, a tough decision. But Mariner has refereed this game very well. He's let things go. He's let a lot of things go. I think I prefer watching a game of football where there's challenges in the game, Ian, rather than them pulling it up all the time. I think he's done well, Mariner, so far.
So yellow card to the Southampton midfielder as Bristol City are leading Queen's Park Rangers by a 0 at Ashton Gate. Bednarak will clear away downfield for the red and white striped shirts of Southampton under these blue skies and the sun shining at St Mary's. As Wijnaldum to Alexander-Arnold on the halfway line, right at the centre circle. Alexander-Arnold runs forward, plays it again, he's given the ball away. That must be about 2 or 3 times it's happened now from Alexander-Arnold, and then Matip, as it goes back downfield, the central defender goes across, running behind that space vacated by his right back to head the ball out of play for a Southampton throw. So midway through their own half, taken quickly by Bertrand to Adams, who makes that run to the left side of the penalty area and plays it back, and Southampton then forced back on that far side, and then they go in field and will quickly nip to Barnsley. There's been a goal, and that's Premji.
Barnsley 1, Charlton 0. Woodrow with the volley, super strike from distance, top corner. Barnsley 1, Charlton 0.
Charlton, who'd won 2 out of 2, as had Sheffield Wednesday, who are at Millwall today. Millwall themselves, who are unbeaten. And in fact, we can quickly go there now, and Jackie Oatley.
Yeah, no goals so far. Sheffield Wednesday certainly the better side. Almost scored through a spectacular strike from 35 yards from Adam Reach, just off the top of the crossbar, and Palmer's shot was tipped behind. 0-0.
Romeo with a cross, Adams on the run, heads it over. That was a good chance for Southampton.
Yeah, he slipped in between Matic and the full-back on the far side. But Liverpool looked very, very sloppy at the back. Redmond and Adams are causing them all sorts of problems with their movement, and they do look sloppy. The other thing is Adrian's kicking. He looks as though he's struggling a little bit.
Liverpool haven't really done enough. Jurgen Klopp, very, very animated. Not too sure, that must be at Adrian. He doesn't look happy at all, does Jurgen Klopp. As Wycombe Wanderers lead MK Dons now 2-1 in League One. The thing is, from a Southampton point of view, and they've had a header with Yoshida. They had that other effort where,
and a good chance then from Adams as well.
You want to take those chances, don't you?
You've got to. Yeah, you've got to.
There's only been 1 goalless draw at Southampton between these two in 44 league meetings. That was in 2016. Millwall are now leading Sheffield Wednesday by a 0. Millwall 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Let's get an update from Celtic with Roddy.
Well, we've got 8 minutes till half time. It's still scoreless here, and this much rejigged Celtic side have given Dunfermline plenty to do, with Scully making 2 fine blocks. But against that, Dunfermline missed probably the best chance of the game when Nisbet went 1-1 with Gordon, so it's still scoreless.
And we can quickly get the details of that Millwall goal. Jackie.
Yes, it's Matt Smith from a Mahoney corner from the left-hand side, buried it from close range with Westwood flailing. It is Millwall 1, the leader Sheffield Wednesday 0.
Southampton on the attack. Matip, though, will get there first before Redmond, and then he's forced all the way back, and then he turns, doesn't let the ball go out for a corner. He turns and puts it out for a throw. Liverpool once again are on the back foot. Northampton Town 0, Macclesfield Town 1, Tranmere Rovers 1, Bolton Wanderers 0. Bolton troubled. They had only 2 senior outfield players for that game at Prenton Park today. Hibs 2, Morton 1 in the Scottish League Cup. From the throw from Southampton, headed away by Van Dijk, headed back by Romeo. Matip stoops to head the ball away. Picked back up by Ward-Prowse, and then rather frustratingly from a Southampton point of view, Bednarak inside the Liverpool half on the edge of the centre circle goes all the way back towards Anker's gun. Southampton lose a lot of momentum to Sixfields. There's been a goal then in League Two. For news of that, Hamish Marshall.
Northampton 0, Macclesfield 1. The home side have had most of the pressure, but Ben Stevens has put Macclesfield in front, got onto a nice ball inside the penalty area, slipped it home from 12 yards out. Northampton 0, Macclesfield 1.
5 minutes to go to half time. You're listening to 5 Live on the BBC Sounds app. Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 2. Brighton 0, West Ham 0. Brighton did have a goal chalked off through VAR. Everton 1, Watford 0. Norwich City 1, Newcastle United 0. And it's goalless here at St Mary's as Liverpool with Wijnaldum lets the ball run across his body, sells the dummy to get away from Romeo and passes the ball to Oxlade-Chamberlain over the halfway line, closed down by Højbjerg, back out towards that right hand side. Alexander-Arnold can't get the better of Ryan Bertrand, and Southampton are back in possession. And we'll get an update from the Rugby Union. Jamie Lyle.
Yeah, England have been really dominant since the interval, Ian, and they've just kicked a second penalty through George Ford, trailing by 10 points to 6 with the hour mark a couple of minutes away.
Mane tried to thread it through to Firmino. I've hardly mentioned Roberto Firmino as he charges that ball down from Valery, keeps the ball in play, helped out by Robertson, extended leg by Valery. Milner then loses out to Romeo. There's a clash between the two, purely accidental. The referee, nevertheless, has played the advantage as Southampton come forward with Bertrand on that far side, the left. They're playing from left to right. Tranmere have now got a second goal against Bolton Wanderers. Doncaster Rovers lead Fleetwood 2-1. Low ball into the penalty area, but the flag is up on that far side. And Lincoln City 2, Southend United 0 is the latest score from Sincil Bank. So it's goalless at St Mary's as we edge towards half time, and at Carrow Road a chance for Newcastle. John Southall.
Yes, Norwich 1, Newcastle 0. Fabian Schär with a header on the left of the area. Really good save though by Krul to claw it away. It's been a great half. Norwich 1, Newcastle 0.
Latest from Goodison, Juliet Berrington.
Where Watford look to be finishing this first half strongly, making life a little bit uncomfortable for Everton, who lead by 1-0. They also felt they should have had a penalty. Watford, De La Feo going down under a challenge from Mina. Lee Mason pointed to the corner flag. VAR said the same after a review. Everton 1-0, still they lead.
Well, in fact, it was at Everton, the 3rd of March, the last time that Liverpool dropped points in the Premier League in that goalless draw at Goodison. Struggling to create chances here, Liverpool, as Salah is down, and Southampton will put the ball out of play to allow maybe the physio to come on as now the Egyptian gets to his feet. But Southampton maybe will be thinking that for all of their possession they should be leading. Yoshida had a save with a header straight at Adrian, and Adams with a header over the top as well. No other goals to tell you about around the country as we edge our way towards half time, but there'll be words maybe from Jurgen Klopp, do you think?
Well, if it doesn't improve, then he'll make changes without a question of doubt. They just look very, very lethargic. That's the best word to use. I think the front three haven't created anything, Ian, so far.
No, there's just that half a chance really, wasn't it, for Salah, which he put well wide as the ball is back with Southampton, sportingly by Liverpool, and cleared away by Angus Gunn. Pulls it out towards the left-hand side, headed on by Bertrand. Redmond will give chase, tied it up by Matip. Adrian gets it out from underneath his feet, gets it away a little bit quicker this time, and finds with his distribution Robertson, closed down though by Romeo. They're very quick to try and win the ball back. Southampton, they are very much on the front foot as Ward-Prowse rolls it back to Valery, to Oakwell, another goal. That's Premji. Hold on now, Naz. Here is Che Adams in the penalty area. Adrian came off his goal line, cuts it back. Redmond was there, and Van Dijk coolly will deal with this. Sorry, Naz.
Barnsley 1, Charlton 1. It's Conor Gallagher who's level. Cross from the right, Gallagher's shot from inside the area. Barnsley 1, Charlton 1.
Liverpool now have a throw. Remember Charlton, who'd won 2 out of 2, as had Sheffield Wednesday, but Millwall are leading the Owls at the Den by 1-0. We're inside the last 60 seconds of this first half at St Mary's. Wimbledon 1, Accrington Stanley 0. It's the latest score in League One, and Southampton have a throw on the this near side. As not much movement for Bednarak, who Polish defender, frozen out really by Mark Hughes, but blossomed under Ralph Hasenhüttl, given much more of an opportunity. 27 appearances under Ralph Hasenhüttl last year. It's a throw to Liverpool. Robertson with the throw on this near side, headed on by Wijnaldum, goes past Firmino and dealt with by the aforementioned Pole, who clears away downfield. Headed away by Van Dijk. Mane with a flick header to Firmino. Firmino tries to lift it into the path of Mane, but Romeo was there. Charged down though by Firmino, breaks to Mane, takes it high on the chest. Mane lifts the ball in towards the penalty area, and Bertrand was back there just doing enough to hold off Salah, and under pressure he's hooked it away and helped on then by the head of Højbjerg. They're looking sharper and stronger, Southampton, at the moment, as we're into added on time, and there will be, I think it was 2 minutes of added on time. Out to Oxlade-Chamberlain, right hand side, ball comes in, and Vestergaard just took it away from Mane with a glancing header from inside his own penalty area. It'll be a Liverpool throw down by the corner flag on this near side. Can they create and conjure up one opportunity in added on time here? 0-0. Robertson on the near side, the left. Wijnaldum plays it to Milner on the overlap, not required. Robertson, he continues to run into the penalty area. Mane will go it alone, and that is a fine goal by Sadio Mane against his former side. What a super strike, curling right-footed, pure class. Liverpool lead by 1-0.
Absolutely fantastic goal, and you've just seen the difference between two sides, Ian. You know, Southampton have played really well and contained Liverpool for most of the half. I think that's what Mane's first effort at goal, and what a fantastic strike, cutting in from the left hand side. He's just bent it into the top corner.
That was a super strike from Mane. 2 goals in Istanbul. That was his 200th game for an English club in midweek, but that was a quality goal from Sadio Mane against his former club. They'll know all about his quality. 25 goals in 75 appearances when he was here at the South Coast, but that was a super strike, and they did conjure one opportunity, and it was quality from Mane as Liverpool lead by 1-0 and are sending off at Millwall. Jackie Oatley.
Yes, Millwall a man down, having just gone a goal up. Jed Wallace sent off, straight red card. The referee judging his studs to have been too high after consultation with his assistant on the far side. It's still Millwall 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0, but Millwall a man down.
Vestergaard with a cross, strikes Redmond, tidied up by Van Dijk.
Liverpool definitely needed the goal, Ian. You know, they look very, very uncomfortable and very flat, and that's the difference when you've got players like that. You can just turn a game in seconds, really, with some magic, and that's what he's done. He's just pulled a magic finish out of the bag. Well, at the sound of the half-time whistle, Jurgen Klopp runs down the tunnel with his side leading by 1-0, and that Mane goal might well just alter the team talk from the German. But it's Southampton who've had the better chances, who find themselves behind. Half-time here at St Mary's. Southampton 0, Liverpool 1.
All the other Premier League half-times in just a moment. Half-time at Celtic, first of all, though. Roddy Forsyth.
Yes, scoreless here. A much reduced crowd, as you would expect, for the least important competition of the season. They've been in relatively good nature despite what happened on Tuesday night against Cluj. At the moment, Celtic with much the greater share of pressure, but they haven't got any goals. Johnson and Beaton coming closest. In both cases, shots blocked by Scully. But Kevin Nisbet of Dunfermline missing the best chance of the game early on when he was 1-1 with Gordon. Incidentally, one other point, we were mentioning last week that Scott Sinclair was in a slanging match with one of the Motherwell groundsmen after the game at Fir Park. He's not even on the bench today. This is a man who scored over 50 goals for Celtic. No sign of him at all. We'll try and find out what's happened there.
You're the man. Thank you, Roddy. Let's go round the Premier League half-times, though. That late Sadio Mane goal gives Liverpool the lead at Southampton. What about Everton, Watford at Goodison? Juliet.
We've had a bit of VAR, but Everton lead 1-0, an early lead as well, thanks to Bernard, who sneaked his shot past Ben Foster at the near post. Pace of the game slowed down after that. It was all Everton, but Watford finishing the half better. They had a penalty appeal turned down by VAR. They went with referee Lee Mason's original decision, but Everton, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, felt he should have had a penalty as well. That one didn't get reviewed. Craig Dawson's hit the crossbar. Capu's gone close for Watford, but Everton lead at half-time by 1-0.
Coventry take the lead late on against Bristol Rovers first half in League One. Coventry yet to concede this season. Next, Norwich against Newcastle. John Southall.
Norwich lead by 1-0. Really good half and a wonderful goal from Teemu Pukki. 3 times he went close before perfecting it. Buendia teased in across from the right. It fell perfectly for Pukki. He watched, he waited, and then he smashed it on the volley. Dubravka got a hand to the ball, but it was a thunderous strike. 2-2 for Pukki. He will get plenty this season. But Newcastle have had their chances. No better than Joel Linton, 7 yards out, rose so well, but headed wide of the left-hand post. Should have scored. Then just before half-time, Tim Krul denied Fabian Schär. Very good half. Norwich 1, Newcastle 0.
Bournemouth still leading 2-0 at Villa, and they're still playing there, so we'll go to the Amex. Brighton, West Ham, and Tony Husband.
Where it's 0-0, but Albion thought they led in a first half they've had much the better of. Summer signing Leandro Trossard had been excellent on debut, even before he volleyed in Dan Burns' cross. VAR official Darren Bondo soon alerting Anthony Taylor to an offside. Burns' left leg, we think, in the preceding free kick, so it was chalked off. Solly March and Burn again have also gone close. West Ham struggling to make an impression here. Javier Hernandez isolated up front. Their only shot from Declan Rice would have split the rugby uprights. Brighton 0, West Ham 0.
It is now half-time at Villa Park. Pat Murphy. Oh, well, we can hear what the Villa fan. I presume that's the Villa sound of the Villa fans. Pat.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, Jonathan. I was just concentrating on Philip Billing getting a warm West Midlands hurrah and goodbye at half-time. How he's escaped being booked is beyond me. The midfielder for Bournemouth. But it's been a feisty encounter. Villa went 2-0 down after 11 minutes. Penalty, Josh King, and then Harry Wilson deflected shot 25 yards out by Mings and then in off the post. They've had the chances, Villa. McGinn has gone close 3 times, and just now Wesley, good bit of trickery to Trezeguet, and he stabbed it, but it was blocked by the keeper Ramsdale. I fully expect a bit of a siege on the Bournemouth goal in the second half, but Bournemouth are dangerous on the break. Villa 0, Bournemouth 2.
Thought it would be a bit of a change of heart to boo your team off at half-time. They were booing Philip Billing. Thank you, Pat. See it later on Match of the Day. Late equaliser for Swansea City, deep in stoppage time in the Championship, and they're level 1-1 at home to Preston. Let's hear about the Wigan Leeds first half in the Championship. Adam Cottier.
Leeds 1-0 up here. Wigan down to 10 men. Patrick Bamford with the Leeds goal. Before that, Joe Williams was sent off after just 20 minutes for Wigan. 2 yellow cards, the second of which he seemed to just follow through on Bamford a little bit more than he should have done. Bamford then scored, tapping in from close range, left-footed, after Adam Forshaw had headed against the inside of the post. Wigan's best chance, Lee Evans' 30-yard free kick that was turned over by Kiko Casilla. Wigan played 75 minutes at Ellen Road in April and still won that game with 10 men. They trail 1-0 to Leeds at half-time.
Millwall, Sheffield Wednesday next. Jackie Oatley.
Yeah, half-time, Millwall 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Matt Smith with a powerful close-range header from a Mahoney corner had put Millwall tails up, but a straight red card for Jed Wallace 6 minutes later and just before the break has really deflated them. You can imagine the reaction of the fans at half-time towards the officials. Wallace adjudged to have been high and late on Kieran Lee. Wednesday had the better of the chances after a poor start from both sides. Harris, the real key player on the left-hand side for them, always a threat. Palmer denied as well before Reach clipped the bar from close range. Half-time, Millwall 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
What about Stoke against Derby? Sahel Sahi.
1-1 at half-time, Jonathan. A frantic first 45 minutes. A goal after 2 minutes put Derby into the lead. Martin Waghorn with a first-time shot which flew past Jack Butland. Stoke equalised from a corner kick. Liam Lindsay with a powerful header, and the better chances have fallen to Stoke. Joe Allen missed from 2 yards with a goal at his mercy, and Tom Ince struck the crossbar 12 yards away. Half-time, Stoke 1, Derby 1.
Elsewhere in the Championship, Blackburn leading Middlesbrough 1-0. Danny Graham from the penalty spot. It's Brentford 0, Hull 0. Bristol City have the lead 1-0 against Queen's Park Rangers, who haven't lost yet under Mark Warburton. Adam Nagy with the goal for Bristol City. Luton have the lead 1-0 against West Brom. Harry Cornick with the goal. Nottingham Forest 2-0 up against Birmingham. Great first half for them with Joe Lolly and Lewis Grabham on the score sheet. And that Swansea-Preston match is now at half-time 1-1 after that late Swansea equaliser. So what about Barnsley-Charlton? Naz Premji.
Barnsley 1, Charlton Athletic 1. Good opening period here, Jonathan. Corley Woodrow opened the scoring with a blockbuster volley from the edge of the area into the top corner. The visitors levelled after Johnny Williams' cross was turned in by Conor Gallagher. These two really going at it. Both sides have played some lovely football so far. At the break, Barnsley 1, Charlton Athletic 1.
Heard about Celtic 0, Dunfermline 0. I'll just give you the other scores from the Scottish League Cup second round at half-time. Forfar 0, Livingston 1, Hibs 2, Morton 2, and then Kilmarnock, Hamilton and Partick Ross are both goalless. Into League One, result from earlier, Sunderland 2, Portsmouth 1. Half-time it's Blackpool 2, Oxford 1. Blackpool's 100% record looks like it's going to continue. Likewise, Lincoln, who leads Southend 2-0 at half-time, and Lincoln still yet to concede this season. Doncaster 2, Fleetwood 1. Doncaster coming from behind in that one. AFC Wimbledon lead Accrington 1-0. They hadn't got a point yet, Wimbledon, but they're in front at the break. Rotherham are leading 1-0 at Burton. Coventry are leading 1-0 against Bristol Rovers. It's Peterborough 1, Ipswich Town 1, Shrewsbury 0, Rochdale 0. Tranmere, who've lost 2 out of 2, are leading Bolton by 2-0, but Bolton, of course, struggling to name a team. Wickham 2, MK Dons 1 at half-time in League 1. Into League 2, 2 teams with 100% records are meeting, and it's Exeter 0, Swindon 0 at the break. What about the first match after Sol Campbell for Macclesfield at Northampton? Hamish Marshall.
They're winning by 1-0 at half-time, so far so good. They've absorbed a fair amount of pressure though, but they lead after a Theo Archibald pass split the Northampton defence, and Ben Stevens finished nicely. Almost got better on the stroke of half-time. Jack McCourt hit the post with a free kick. Northampton 0, Macclesfield 1.
Leyton Orient 0, Stevenage 0. That is now half-time in League 2. And here are the other League 2 half-time scores. It's Newport 0, Plymouth Argyle 0. Plymouth, another team yet to concede this season. Bradford City 2, Oldham 0. Tough times for Oldham. They've lost their last 5. Looks like that's going to be 6 out of 6 today, if you bring in the late results last season. Carlisle 0, Mansfield 2 at half-time. Colchester 1, Cambridge 0. Cambridge have had 2 0-0 draws so far this season, just can't score. Crewe 0, Walsall 0, Forest Green 0, Grimsby 0, Morecambe 0, Cheltenham 0. Macclesfield leading at Northampton, as you've just heard. Shortage of goals actually in League 2. Salford 0, Port Vale 0, but a game with goals does see Scunthorpe and Crawley level at 1-1 at half-time. Let's just check in on the cricket. Here's Eleanor Oldroyd at Lords.
Australia 246 for 8, approaching tea. They're now 12 runs behind, and we've seen a couple of sharp chances go down in the slips, and we hear that Steve Smith, who got hit on the head, went back to the pavilion, retired hurt, came back out again extraordinarily, hit 2 fours, and then was LBW to Chris Wokes. He will be monitored on a continuing basis. We'll discuss that in more detail during half-time.
Half-times in the National League. Woking leading 2-0 at AFC Fylde. It's Aldershot 1, FC Halifax Town 0. Barnet 1, Chesterfield 1. Boreham Wood Sutton is goalless. Dagenham and Redbridge 2, Harrogate 2. Dover Torquay is goalless. It's 2-2 as well between Hartlepool and Bromley. Maidenhead leading Chorley 2-1. Solihull Ebbsfleet is 1-1. And Stockport against Yeovil is goalless. I've given you the half-times in the Scottish League Cup second round. Just 2 divisions being played in the leagues. That's League 1 and League 2. In League 1, Clyde are 1 up at Airdrieonians, 1-1 Falkirk Montrose, Peterhead 2, Dumbarton 1, Stranraer 1, Wraith Rovers 2. And in Scottish League 2, Queen's Park are leading 2-0 at Brechin. It's goalless Edinburgh Stirling. Annan lead Albion 3-1. Cove Rangers are 1 up on Cowden Beath, and it's Elgin 0, Stenhouse Muir 0. Here's the latest on Wales, England in the Rugby Union International in Cardiff. Jamie Lyle.
There is very little in this with 10 minutes to play, Jonathan. It's Wales 10, England 6. It's been breathless end-to-end stuff in the last few minutes. Both teams breaking into one another's 22 before coughing up the ball or giving away a penalty. George North, the only try scorer so far, his converted effort, and Dan Biggers, 2 penalties the difference so far. But into the final 9 minutes now, it's Wales 10, England 6.
So in the Premier League today, result from earlier, Arsenal 2, Burnley 1. We'll have reaction in Sports Report after 5. Bournemouth, great first half, leading 2-0 at Aston Villa. Goalless Brighton, West Ham. Everton leading Watford 1-0. Norwich leading Newcastle 1-0. And that Sadio Mane right foot curling goal gives Liverpool the late first half lead at Southampton. Second half to come after the latest BBC News and Richard Foster.
On digital, BBC Sounds, smart speaker and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Detectives are searching a caravan site as part of the investigation into the death of PC Andrew Harper. The 28-year-old was killed after being dragged along the road by a vehicle between Reading and Newbury in Berkshire. 10 suspects, aged between 13 and 30, are still being held on suspicion of murder. A convicted rapist has escaped from an open prison in South Gloucestershire. Daniel Thompson failed to appear at roll call at HMP Leyhill yesterday afternoon. Police say he has links to Chester, Warrington and Darlington. The Chancellor wants to make big changes to stamp duty in the budget. Sajid Javid has told The Times he wants sellers in England and Northern Ireland to foot the bill instead of buyers. Sudan's military council has signed a power-sharing arrangement with the country's civilian alliance aimed at ending months of protests there. The deal establishes a council of military and civilian leaders. And a jumbo jet previously used to transport Japan's emperor and government leaders has gone on sale. It has just over 16,000 flying hours on the clock and will cost $28 million.
The best live sport.
England lost the first test.
Gliding the ball off, the glove is out. He's caught it second slip, it's all over. Australia have come up with the most gratifying, memorable win.
But now they look to bounce back and level up the series at Lord's.
And he's in on the pad, appeals leg before wicket, up goes the finger.
The Ashes. The second test is live from Lord's right now over on 5 Live Sports Extra.
And keep up to date with the TMS podcast. Download and subscribe using the BBC Sounds app.
This is 5 Live Sport with Jonathan Overend.
And it's 4 o'clock in exactly an hour's time. It'll be Sports Report, your definitive roundup of the Saturday afternoon action, all the results, all the reaction as well from the dressing rooms around the country. 5 Live with that exclusive access. And we'll also update you from Lord's as well as England go up in appeal, and they might have one. Ellie?
Yes, the 9th wicket has gone down. Nathan Lyon is going to review this though from Jack Leach. 246 for 9 this will be if it is given out. 12 runs behind Australia, but we are still trying to digest a session of cricket, Alex Stewart, this afternoon, which has been among the most compelling that I can remember seeing here at Lord's.
Yeah, it's what happens when you see someone who can bowl with the pace of Jofra Archer, in excess of 90 mile an hour, bowling to the best batsman in the world, short, fast pitch bowling. There's always danger in cricket. 5.5 ounces of leather being come down the pitch at 9 mile an hour. People get hit. You know, the good thing is Steve Smith has survived it. We're just watching the replay here, which has been reviewed, the LBW decision from Nathan Lyon. Otherwise, Australia will be 9 down. I think he thought he hit it, but I think that's going to be out.
Yeah, look, while we've got time to talk about this, Alec, just looking at the analysis of Jofra Archer's spell, he bowled 16 deliveries in a row, all over 90 miles an hour. If you were with us earlier on, you'll know that Steve Smith was hit on the forearm first, not wearing an arm guard, had treatment on the field, had a compression bandage, and that's going to be assessed. And then a couple of overs later, Archer hit him on the side of the neck. This is out, by the way. I think just bear with us. No, I think that's going to be given out. Yes, it is indeed given out. 246 for 9 is the score. Lyon goes off. But yeah, so Smith hit on the back of the neck. He's wearing a helmet which doesn't have the stem guards, which are designed to protect that vulnerable position below the skull and between the skull and the neck. Lay on the floor for quite a long time, was assessed by medical teams from Australia, and the England staff were out there as well, as the England players stood by and watched on with some concern, keeping out of the way of the whole situation, but then went off and came back out, resumed his innings, hit 2 fours and finally out for 92. I mean, so much to discuss, and it's one of those I think one of those spells of play that we'll discuss for years to come, probably.
Yeah, we will. And for those, slightly younger than myself, for example, but that is the type of cricket we used to see. Think of the West Indies, they used to have a 4-man pace battery. Passages of play like that you used to see regularly. Because we don't see it so often, when you see it like that, and sadly then someone gets hit, we will be talking about it. The best thing about it appears as though Steve Smith will be okay.
Josh Hazlewood, last man out for Australia, just coming out to the wicket now. 246 for 9. Australia 12 runs behind.
Sports report at 5, 6:06 after 6, and now the second half at St Mary's and all the goals. Back to Ian Dennis.
We're underway at St Mary's. Neither side has made a change for this second half, with Liverpool playing from left to right in their all grey. Southampton in their red and white striped shirts, quite broad stripes that they've got, and black shorts, and their red and white socks, therefore from right to left, as Liverpool are attacking where the away end is, and their travelling hordes have filled that entire allocation away to our right hand side, as Liverpool lead by a 1-0 through this quality strike from Mane, as Mane chases after a ball and he waits, and then Robertson joins the attack, and Robertson with a cut back. It was blocked by Bednarak, and it will go out of play for a Liverpool throw. And already Liverpool making a rather sprightly start to the restart in the opening 60 seconds, as they have a throw now on that far side, and Milner still sporting that bandage on his head after he took a blow earlier in the game, as Andre Mariner, the referee, what's he getting involved in? Liverpool want to take the throw quickly.
I think he's going to give a drop ball. Let's have a look. I think he's going for a drop ball. He's saying that he was stuck under the lad's foot while he was lying down, so I think he's just going to drop the ball.
Tranmere Rovers 3, Bolton Wanderers 0 is the latest score from Prenton Park. Of course, the drop ball now, one of the new laws, has to be uncontested, so he's going to give it to Southampton. Let's get a quick update from the rugby. Jamie Lyle.
Yeah, Wales have just stretched the lead with 4 minutes to play. A booming Lee Halfpenny penalty from just inside the England half. England now a full 7 points behind. That's a full converted try behind. It's Wales 13, England 6, 4 minutes to play.
BBC Radio 5 Live. 5 Live Sport this afternoon. We'll be concentrating on the Premier League. The coverage from TMS continues on 5 Live Sports Extra, the only station to bring you a combination of Premier League and ball-by-ball coverage of the Ashes. So you have a choice of listening, as Liverpool still with his slender advantage. Van Dijk playing the ball forward, looking to try and get Mane onto that on that left-hand side, and Gunn comes out of his penalty area and lifts the ball out of play, out for a throw on that far side. A rather quiet St Mary's, as still some of the supporters are filing back up the stairs to their seats and that stand on that far side on this bright and warm, slightly breezy afternoon, as Mane loses out and it's cleared by Valerie, but it goes out of play and it's a Southampton throw.
The important thing is that, Ian, that Southampton don't concede again quickly. If they can just dig in a little bit, Liverpool have a really good start so far. They just dig in and see this out. They've always then, that one mistake, that one chance that you can get back into the game then.
Milner, that's the voice of Tony Pulis, who's with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live, as Liverpool with Van Dijk to Milner over the halfway line, rolls it to the left back, Andrew Robertson, and now to Firmino. Firmino is able to turn, central position, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain joins the attack, cross to Alexander-Arnold on this near side. Cross doesn't beat the first man, strikes the back of Bertrand. Stepping forward out of defence there was Matip. Was he checked? Yes, he was. Direct free kick for Liverpool. Foul there on the Cameroon defender, and Liverpool now have a direct free kick within shooting distance.
There's only one person going to grab that ball, that's going to be Salah, that's for sure.
So he has an excellent record. Mentioned that about his 5 goals in 4 games against Southampton. In fact, in his 12 Premier League games against South Coast opposition, he's found the net in 11, 14 goals and 3 assists. And it's Mo Salah who places the ball down. So Liverpool playing from left to right. The free kick is a few yards outside of the penalty area, right of centre. Certainly suits the left foot of Salah. Alexander-Arnold is the other option. At one stage it looked like Firmino was going to join the end of the wall, but of course that's not allowed now. They've got 5 in the wall of Southampton players. Angus Gunn is happy that they've protected what would be his left-hand post. If Alexander-Arnold can whip it around there, he might well find a route to goal. So Southampton have everybody back. Liverpool lead by a 1-0. Salah waits, hands on hips. Alexander-Arnold eyes it up. Salah goes for goal, strikes the top of the wall, comes out to Alexander-Arnold, plays the ball back into the penalty area, off the head of Ishida. It goes behind for a corner kick to Liverpool.
As I've said, I think Southampton just got to dig in now. Just see this out. The first 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, settle back into the game, and then hopefully get the opportunities that they had first half, but this time take them.
Didn't take the opportunities when they were presented to them in the first half, as Liverpool have a corner kick. It'll be an outswinger from that far side, the left, taken by the left foot of Salah. In it comes now. Header only as far as Milner, plays it back out towards that far side. First time ball in by Salah, and Che Adams turns it behind for a corner. Liverpool turn the screw, continue to keep the pressure on as Lincoln City have a third goal at home to Southend United in League One. Lincoln City 3, Southend 0. Corners taken short, roll back, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Robertson, high ball in, deep into the penalty area, headed back by Van Dijk, headed away by Vestergaard, edge of the box, put back in by Wijnaldum, headed further away by Vestergaard, volleyed back by Milner, one bounce, and it will go out of play for a goal kick. So Lincoln City looking to make it 3 wins out of 3. Blackpool, the last we heard, were 2-1 up against Oxford United, a result in the early game in League One. Sunderland 2, Portsmouth 1. Arsenal beat Burnley by 2-1. And don't forget, Sports Report will bring you all of the reaction to the Premier League games. We'll have regular updates of Manchester City against Tottenham 2, followed by 6:06 with Chris Sutton and Alistair Bruce Ball. Salah now running forward, threads it through. Firmino in the penalty area. Well-timed challenge by Bednarak. Had to get there too, didn't he?
Yeah, very much so. Firmino looks as though he's tired, and it doesn't look as sharp as normal. And whether Klopp will look at that later on as the game goes on, but again, it's good play by Liverpool. They've moved the ball much quicker in this first 10 minutes than what they did for the whole of the first half.
Yeah, Liverpool are on top. They're the superior side since the restart, as they lead by a 0-0. Ward-Prowse, eventually the ball reaches him and he feeds it out, lifts it into the air to Valery on that far side. Ward-Prowse continues his run, but it's swept back by Valery to Bednarak. Australia are now all out at Lords. Eleanor Oldroyd.
All out for 250. Pat Cummins, the last man to go, having a swing at Stuart Broad, caught behind by Johnny Bairstow for 20. 250 all out Australia, 8 runs behind Alex Stewart. What do you make of the game so far?
Well, it's now even Stevens. Yes, there's only 8 runs in it, but one side is going to have to bat really, really badly if there's going to be a positive result. England have to go out there now and make sure that they post a good total, and will they be able to give themselves a chance of declaring to then try and bowl Australia out tomorrow. But yep, at the moment it is very much even Stevens who's going to have the better third and fourth innings of this game.
We will have tea and we'll reflect on a session of high drama here at Lords. Australia 250 all out. England will bat for their second innings, 8 runs ahead.
Cambridge have equalised at Colchester. It's 1-1, and in the Championship, West Bromwich Albion have equalised at Kenilworth Road. Luton 1, West Brom 1. Southampton here have a corner kick. It was Højbjerg's shot from the edge of the area that was deflected over the top. They still trail the home side by a 0-0. We've been playing for 8 minutes in the second half. It's a corner kick on that far side. Southampton in those red and white striped shirts are playing from right to left. Far side the right. In swinger from Ryan Bertrand. Punched away by Adrian. Headed back by Ward-Prowse. Comes back to Ward-Prowse. Tries a little low ball into the penalty area. Cleared by Alexander-Arnold. Then as Romeo plays it there, was stopped by Firmino. Southampton look to win the ball back. Che Adams gets away from Firmino. Near side the left. 6 yards up from the corner flag. Adams level with the penalty area, works over the cross, too deep, and it will curl out of play. Wind assisted out of play. It goes for a goal kick to Liverpool, who still lead by a 0-0. Full time now in that Rugby Union World Cup warm-up game, Wales-England. Jamie Lyle.
Well, they finished the match camped right on their line, Ian, but Wales have won this one 13 points to 6. George North's try, penalties from Biggar and Halfpenny the difference, and a modicum of revenge for last week's 33-19 beating at Twickenham. Wales victors here.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, deservedly so as well.
By the way, if Dave Kemp's listening to us on the World Service, Kempy, I know exactly how you feel when you're black and blue from being dug in the ribs by certain Mr. Pulis. As Alexander-Arnold nips forward on the right-hand side of the penalty area and wins a corner kick. They have been much better the second half.
Yeah, the goal obviously at half-time, just before half-time, has really livened them up.
Couldn't have wished for a better time to score, but it was a quality goal from Sadio Mane. Right-footed, curling, beat Angus Gunn. There still is the difference between the two sides. Liverpool near side the right have a corner. Alexander-Arnold, arms aloft, in it goes, headed away by Valery, hit back in by Milner, almost crept in, struck it first time right footed just outside the D, and well, that was close. Goal kick to Southampton.
Yeah, it's a great strike, just wide of the left hand post, but as I keep saying, Southampton, they've got to get a little bit more compact and dig in and just see this out, because Liverpool are moving the ball quicker from side to side and getting up the sides of the pitches and getting the ball to Mane and Salah, and those two players are just fantastic players. Even
Hibs lead Morton 3-2 in the Scottish League Cup. Luton 1, West Bromwich Albion 2. Here's Salah into the penalty area. Salah against Angus Gunn, got it onto his left foot, too close to the goalkeeper. Angus Gunn, big frame, sees it behind for a corner kick.
He'll be disappointed there, and he should score. Or is he 6 yards out, 1-on-1, and he's hit the goalkeeper. But again, great pass from Mane, and Salah really should be making it 2-0.
Celtic lead Dunfermline by 1-0. We'll get news of that goal with Roddy when we can. West Bromwich Albion now lead Luton by 2-1. They've come from behind. 2 goals from Dean Garner, who's on loan from West Ham United, and it's Wickham 2, MK Dons 2 in League One. The corner on the right hand side, Oxlade-Chamberlain lets it run through to Alexander-Arnold, headed away by Højbjerg. Robertson in the centre circle, should go back to Adrian, under pressure from Redmond, and Adrian puts his foot through that and clears. Goal at Barnsley now, Naz Premjic.
Barnsley 2, Charlton 1. Lovely build-up from Woodrow and McGeehan, and Connor Chaplin danced his way into the box and into the bottom corner. Barnsley 2, Charlton 1.
Liverpool lead by 1-0. Are Everton still ahead? Juliet Farrington.
They are just about, but what a save. Jordan Pickford from Troy Deeney. Watford has started the second half so much better. One-on-one Deeney. Pickford got a hand to it. Oh, it looks like it may be his nose as well. He's struggling a little bit. This game has been stopped while he receives some treatment. Everton edging this by 1-0.
Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 2, Brighton 0, West Ham 0, Norwich City 1, Newcastle United elsewhere as Liverpool are on the attack. The goal scorer Mane drops to his knees to chest the ball back to Oxlade-Chamberlain. Oxlade-Chamberlain on the right hand side picks out Milner. Milner's forward ball to Firmino, looking to turn on the edge of the area. Might just fall towards Milner. No, it won't. Cleared away. Højbjerg tries to strike the ball over the top. Does so. Matip now in a foot chase with Adams, but always going away from Che Adams, and out of play it goes for a Liverpool throw, as we'll get details of that goal from Celtic Park with Roddy Forsyth.
And as the Celtic fans were beginning to fret about extra time and maybe penalties, Mikey Johnson popped up with a long range effort. I say effort, it was meant to be a cross. He can never plausibly claim that was a direct shot, but it went in over the goalkeeper's head, and Celtic lead by 1-0.
Third goal of the afternoon at Stoke, Sahel Sahi.
And Stoke are into the lead. They lead Derby by 2-1. Sweeping move down the right hand side, played into the penalty area, and Scott Hogan swept it home. Stoke 2, Derby 1.
Jared Bowen's on the score sheet again for Hull City. Brentford 0, Hull City 1, also in the Championship, as Liverpool with Robertson back with Van Dijk, forward ball towards Milner. Just realised that I don't think I've run through the two teams at the start of the second half. So with Southampton, they have Angus Gunn in goal, a back three of Yoshida, Vestergaard and Bednarak, Valery and Bertrand the wing backs, Romeo, Ward-Prowse and Højbjerg, Redmond and Adams are the two up front. Liverpool, Adrian in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk and Robertson, midfield three of Chamberlain, Milner and Wijnaldum, and a front three of Salah, Firmino and Mane the goal scorer. Tony Pulis.
That's the first bad decision by Andre Mariner. I think it was a very, very poor decision, and really got Southampton off the hook, because if he'd have won that ball, there was 2-on-2 at the back. With the pace that they've got, they would have caused them real problems.
Scunthorpe United yet to pick up any points in League Two, have come from behind. They lead Crawley Town by 2-1 at Glanford Park. Oxlade-Chamberlain now midway through his own half, finds the feet of Salah. The return ball to the England international just ahead of him, and it runs out of play for a Southampton throw. Southampton have both scored and conceded in 13 of their last 14 Premier League home games. The exception was when they beat Fulham by 2-0 in February. There has been a goal at Brighton. Does it stand this time? Tony Husband.
It does for now. Brighton 0, West Ham 1, and Javier Hernandez with a breakaway completely against the run of play, really. Ball broke to Lanzini on the left hand side, threaded it in behind the Brighton back line, and the finish just got through Ryan. Brighton 0, West Ham 1.
Partick Thistle 0, Ross County 1 is the latest score in the Scottish League Cup. West Ham, who have lost all 4 of their previous away matches to Brighton in the top flight, leading by 1-0. We are the champions of Europe, sing the Liverpool supporters, as Salah now picks up the ball, comes forward just outside the penalty area, rolls it, but it's intercepted by Valery, easily won back by Robertson, slow to react. Oxlade-Chamberlain with a pile driver, that'll make the eyes water of Romeo, into the penalty area, comes back to Oxlade-Chamberlain as Doncaster Rovers 2, Fleetwood 2 is the latest score in League One. And Liverpool now with Van Dijk seeing a lot more of the ball in this second half. Liverpool
completely dominating the game at the moment.
Here is Firmino on the ball, Mane inside of him. Mane manages to get away from Romeo. Alexander-Arnold on this near side, plays it forward, it's a curling ball. Will it go out of play? No, it won't. Valery, though, makes sure it does by lifting it out for a Liverpool throw on that far side, as Peterborough United now lead Ipswich by 2-1 at London Road in League One. BBC Radio 5 Live. Also available on the BBC Sounds app. We've been playing for just over an hour. Mane, left corner of the penalty area. Can't thread it through. Stopped by the legs of Højbjerg. Liverpool win it back. Milner now on that far side. They're winning the second balls again, Liverpool. They are much sharper than they were in the first half. Tony Pulis used the word lethargic for Liverpool in the first 45 minutes. They're dictating, they're controlling now in this second period, as Oxlade-Chamberlain to Matip, and it's Southampton chasing the game as Alexander-Arnold to Firmino. Just couldn't take it with him. Dug out by Vestergaard, but Southampton give the ball away. Oxlade-Chamberlain now looks up. Oxlade-Chamberlain does a 360-degree turn, and with the outside of his right boot plays the ball across to Milner. Forward now to Robertson, ahead of him, high up the pitch, the left back. Back with Milner, still sporting that white bandage wrapped around his head as Liverpool keep the ball well. Matip now, every outfield player is in the Southampton half here in the sunshine, as Van Dijk coming forward, as Mane, Robertson. I think the reason why the Liverpool supporters are cheering is that a Southampton supporter who's near to them has just been ejected, much to their delight, as the ball is played into Firmino.
I hope that's not my son-in-law.
Oh, he's not your grandson. Salah to Firmino. Van Dijk, Oxlade-Chamberlain maybe opens up for a shot. No, tees it up to Alexander-Arnold. The cross is deep into the penalty area, headed away by Valery. Robertson lifts it back into the penalty area, headed away by Bednarek, comes out to Robertson. Robertson will put it back in once again. Bednarek on the stretch will head the ball away, and Southampton there were really on the back foot. Goal at Carrow Road, John Southall.
Norwich lead by 2-0 against Newcastle, and it's Timu Pukki with his second of the game. Another really good finish, 16 yards out, turned and put it into the bottom left-hand corner. Norwich 2, Newcastle 0.
BBC Radio 5 Live. Southampton are making a change. Liverpool are on the attack. It's with Mane. Mane into the penalty area. Sheeda will sweep it away to safety, but it's going to keep coming back. Liverpool really looking to turn the screw. Milner looked like he was going to shoot. Instead, passes the ball across towards Alexander-Arnold. Right corner of the penalty area. Back to Milner. This time shoot. Right-footed. Over the crossbar and out for a goal kick. It remains Southampton 0, Liverpool 1, but there's been another goal at Brighton. Tony Husband.
It's Brighton 1, West Ham 1. It's the man who had the goal chalked off in the first half who scored another cracker, putting it in the back of the net from the edge of the penalty area, right-footed, Leo Trossard. This one looks like it will stand. Brighton 1, West Ham 1.
The live football continues tomorrow. A double dose, as will often be the case on 5 Live. Premier League Sunday tomorrow. Sheffield United, Crystal Palace from 2. Chelsea against Leicester City from 4:30. Monday night we're at Molineux. Wolves against Manchester United. Don't forget you can have your say with 606 after Sports Report with Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. And so Southampton have made that change, and Danny Ings, the former Liverpool striker, is on as Redmond collects this ball now for Southampton on this near side, the left corner of the penalty area. Back to Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse, as he gets it out from underneath his feet, was quickly closed down by Oxlade-Chamberlain, and then Bednarek has played a ball forward, but Redmond's coming back from an offside position, so he can't chase it. Let's get an update then from Villa Park with Pat Murphy.
It's still Villa 0, Bournemouth 2 as Jack Grealish's heads one over the bar. He went very close just after half-time. Taylor denied at the expense of a corner at the far post in front of the Holt end. Billing is off, taken off by Eddie Howe at half-time. How wise. He had an appointment with a red card in the second half. Villa 0, Bournemouth 2.
Nottingham Forest 3, Birmingham City 0 is a latest score. Tranmere Rovers have got a 4th against Bolton Wanderers. So hard for Bolton, with only 2 senior outfield players and a lot to ask for youngsters to play 3 games in a week. As Mane into Firmino. Firmino with a chance. Firmino puts it wide. That was a real opportunity for Liverpool on the counter-attack, and Firmino squandered it.
3 passes, they're through the team, and again, Firmino should score. You know, that man... And Salah's missed a great chance, and Firmino's missed a great chance there. The manager's changed it now and gone with the 3 up front instead of having the 3 in midfield. He's got Ward-Prowse and Holberg just sat in front of the 3, and Ings has gone to the right hand side, Redmond to the left hand side, and Adam up front. So he's now playing with 3 up there, hoping to contain the fullbacks, Liverpool's fullbacks.
Crewe lead Walsall by a goal to 0. We mentioned that Nottingham Forest are 3-0 up against Birmingham, also in the Championship. Bristol City 2, Queen's Park Rangers 0, and another goal at Wigan. Adam Cottier.
It's another goal for Patrick Bamford. Wigan 0 leads to a corner from the right, taken left-footed by Barry Douglas into the near post, and Bamford managed to scramble it in past David Marshall. 10-man Wigan 0 leads 2.
Let's get the latest from Goodison. Juliet Farrington.
Where Danny Welbeck is waiting to come on from Watford. Hasn't played for 9 months since last November after breaking his leg whilst with Arsenal. The board is coming up. He's replacing Will Hughes. Watford so much better than Everton in the second half. And just going back to that Pickford save, 11 minutes into this second half, Deeney one-on-one. We thought Pickford got a hand to it. It looked to be his actual face instead that denied Deeney an equaliser here at Goodison. Everton still lead 1-0.
I mentioned that Ings was on the field of play. What was it, 4 goals in 25 appearances in his 4 injury-plagued seasons at Anfield. Romeo was the player who went off to allow Ings to come on for Southampton as they chase an equaliser here at St Mary's. Liverpool have won their last 4 games against Southampton. With the home side now with Bertrand with a ball in that's too close to the goalkeeper, Adrian, and he gathers it in and then he rolls it out. Milner's going to come under pressure straight away, and it's a early hurried clearance straight toward Prowse in the sunshine. Redmond now. Ings is going to have an opportunity here onto his left foot, just over the top. That was close from Danny Ings, much better from the home side.
I think Klopp is just telling Adrian, just get the ball forward. They're 3 forwards. When they've got the ball up there against their 3 centre halves, this half, they've been absolutely fantastic.
Liverpool, who ended last season with a run of 4 consecutive away wins in the Premier League, looking to try and make it 5 on the spin since 2014. As we go to Millwall, Jackie Oatley.
It's still Millwall 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Millwall a man down after Jed Wallace had been sent off controversially at the time, but replay suggests that he was high over the foot of Kieran Lee and aggressive with the ball having gone, but it could be 2-0 quite easily. Aidan O'Brien rifling a shot goalwards, brilliantly saved by Westwood in the Sheffield Wednesday goal. Bannon making a real impact for Wednesday as they try to aim to maintain their 100% record, but they are still trailing Millwall by a goal to 0.
Southampton on the attack. Ings with a cross, too deep. Armstrong has come onto the field of players. Another substitute from Ralph Hasenhüttl. Here's replaced Che Adams. The home side still trail by 1-0 to 0. Tony Pulis.
That's 2 turnovers now. Southampton have got 2, or have had 2 very, very good opportunities from turnovers in Liverpool's final third. So they're overplaying back there. That's all they need to do is get it up to the front 3, and they'll cause Southampton problems.
That Mane goal in stoppage time in the first half is still the difference. Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 2, Brighton 1, West Ham 1, Everton lead Watford by a goal to 0, Norwich City 2, Newcastle United 0. Liverpool with a combination of Robertson and Milner on that far side, exchanging passes on the Liverpool left as they play in their all grey from left to right. And now Matip and Van Dijk just to try and kill the game a little bit, because Southampton were trying to build up a head of steam as they search for an equaliser. Out towards that far side. Valery, though, will win it for Southampton, and then Valery goes all the way back to Angus Gunn, has to come out of his area to clear, gets plenty of distance. Cushion header forward by Van Dijk to Wijnaldum, loses out.
Another change over in their half of the pitch. You know, they've been doing this continuously now for the last 5 minutes and giving Southampton a lot of hope, really.
That's the voice of Tony Pulis as Højbjerg to Redmond just gets himself on the other side of Alexander-Arnold. He's now running at the England international. He's helped out by Oxlade-Chamberlain, rolls it back. Vestergaard joins the attack, edge of the area. Vestergaard's cross takes a bit of a deflection and just diverts it, takes a spinning ball into the hands of Adrian, the former Premier League manager of the year from a number of years ago.
Who was that?
You.
Dano, behave yourself.
Modest as ever. Swansea City 2, Preston North End 1 is the latest score in the Championship. So Swansea have come from behind as Ings tries to win the ball back. Loose ball. Andre Mariner says a foul.
Again, I'm not sure about that. I'm just talking about how well he's done really in respect of letting the game go, and I thought that was a decent challenge.
20 minutes remain. Liverpool lead by 1-0. There were questions asked of this Liverpool side after the travel that they've done from Istanbul. But if they were to come away with 3 points, they would equal their best ever Premier League winning run of 11 successive victories, as they're now looking to try and maybe wrap it up with Firmino. Firmino on the edge of the area, and Firmino does exactly that. He bided his time, edge of the area, right-footed, finds the bottom left-hand corner, and that winning sequence for Liverpool looks like it's going to continue as Firmino increases their lead. Southampton 0, Liverpool 2.
And it's exactly the same situation as it was down the bottom end, where Liverpool were giving Southampton the ball in their final third. Southampton have given Liverpool the ball in the final third, and within a pass and 3 touches from Firmino, it's 2-0, and it looks as though that's game over, Ian.
It's all about the quality, and Liverpool have quality in abundance. They lead by 2-0, and another goal at Stoke City. Sahel Sahi.
An equaliser for Derby. It's Stoke 2, Derby 2 from the penalty spot. George Evans was fouled, and Martin Waghorn, he missed last Saturday, but he scores this weekend. It's Stoke 2, Derby 2.
By the way, the best ever run for Liverpool was 12 when they did it in 1990. Of course, that was the last time that they won a league title. They came close last year, and
I'm sure now Klopp will tidy this up now and make their team a lot stronger. Whether he brings one of the forwards off or one of their attacking midfield players off, just to make sure that they stay nice and solid now.
Well, as soon as you say that, Tony, Fabinho is coming on. So Fabinho, who looked absolutely shattered in Istanbul in midweek, is going to come on, and he will just do that in that midfield, won't he? He'll look to try and control it now.
It's just who he's going to bring off, which one he'll bring off.
Roberto Firmino with his first of the season, and so all of them already have found the back of the net in the early stages of this campaign. Mane with his 2 in midweek, Salah against Norwich, of course, and now Roberto Firmino, who scored 16 goals last season, 27 the previous year. Liverpool lead by 2-0. Another goal at Villa Park. Pat Murphy.
It's a goal for Aston Villa. A splendid goal from Douglas Luiz. He had too much space, 25 yards out. Measured it, clipped it beautifully over the wall. And now the counter-attack is on. Listen to the crowd. It's Aston Villa 1, Bournemouth 2.
So that's got interesting there. It's still Brighton 1, West Ham 1, Everton 1, West Ham 0, and Norwich City 2, Newcastle United 0. Liverpool lead by 2-0. BBC Radio 5 Live. Here we are at St Mary's as Wijnaldum now to Firmino. Firmino caught from behind there by Højbjerg. That'll be a free kick to Liverpool. We're going to nip to Northampton. Another goal. Hamish Marshall.
And it's an equaliser for the home side. Corner from the far side, and Jordan Turnbull, the defender, up for that corner, was able to turn it in at the back post. 17 minutes to play. Northampton 1, Macclesfield 1.
It's going to be like for like. That change by Jurgen Klopp as the Liverpool supporters are in fine voice. Away to our right, Fabinho is going to replace James Milner, and whilst that substitution takes place, we'll nip to Celtic and Roddy Forsyth.
Celtic 1, Dunfermline 0. Mikey Johnson's goal separating the sides. There's just over a quarter of an hour to go. Celtic have been peppering the Dunfermline box, 13 corners to the Vipers 1, but they just can't get the other goal that would make sure that this was not such an edgy occasion. Celtic 1, Dunfermline 0.
Bradford City are going to get their first victory of the season. They lead Oldham Athletic by 3-0. Another goal at Carrow Road. John Southall.
Well, what about this? Norwich 3, Newcastle 0, and Teemu Pukki has just completed his first Premier League hat-trick, snapping it up 12 yards out. It was never in doubt. Norwich 3, Newcastle 0, Pukki 3, Newcastle 0.
Liverpool with a free kick in towards Mane. Mane's header turned behind at his near post by Angus Gunn as they threatened a third.
Yeah, they're in complete control now. Milner's come off. He's brought Milner off. I thought Milner was fantastic again today, Ian. As a professional footballer, there's not been many better over the last couple of decades. He's been absolutely fantastic.
Yes, he certainly sets high standards in the dressing room. Exeter City are leading Swindon Town by 1-0. Corner kick for Liverpool. In it comes towards Matip, cleared away then by Højbjerg just outside the 6-yard box. As we'll get the team news now from the Etihad. Manchester City against Tottenham. Will Perry.
4 changes for Manchester City after walloping West Ham on the opening day. Aguero, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan and Otamendi come in for Jesus, Mahrez, captain David Silva and Stones. Rodri gets the nod over Fernandinho again. Just the one change for Tottenham. Christian Eriksen might not be a Spurs player come the 2nd of September. He starts today in for Lucas Moura. Vertonghen is in the matchday squad this time. He's on the bench.
Regular reports into Sports Report, where we'll bring you the reaction, and then of course into 606 with Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. Preston had equalised at the Liberty Stadium, but Swansea City are back in front in the Championship. Swansea City 3, Preston North End 2. Liverpool lead by 2-0. Southampton are going to make their third and final change, and it's going to be debut for Moussa Djenepo, the Malian international, who's one of their summer acquisitions, and we're going to see also Divock Origi coming on for Liverpool, with a game now you would presume safe, providing that they keep their concentration. Jurgen Klopp's side as they lead 2-0. Oxlade-Chamberlain pushes the ball right hand side down towards Salah on this near side. Salah rolls it back. Alexander-Arnold sweeps it high across towards Robertson, headed forward by the left back. Mane in the penalty area, backheels the ball to Robertson. What a goal that would have been, as Robertson brings out a fantastic save by Gunn, and it goes behind for a corner kick. Lovely move.
Absolutely fantastic movement, and again they get the opposite full-back forward in. Every time they've done that, they've looked dangerous. It's a good save from the keeper.
So it's going to be a debut then for Moussa Djenepo, and it's Ryan Bertrand who's going to come off. He's a Malian international. He can play either wide or through the middle. The fact that Bertrand's coming off is suggesting he's going to go on to that left-hand side, as Brentford have equalised at home to Hull City. Dunfermline have equalised at Celtic. It's now 1-1. At Parkhead. We'll get news of that with Roddy, as Liverpool
again. Southampton are zonal.
Corner kick, in it comes, and straight down the throat of Angus Gunn. Let's bring in Roddy with news of that goal then for Dunfermline.
Well, what was the last thing I was saying to you? It was precarious for Celtic at 1-0, although they were very dominant. They just lost Chris Ayer to injury, and Tom Beadling of Dunfermline popped up at the near post to drive home past Gordon. Suddenly, what's remaining of the crowd at Celtic Park is silence. It's Celtic 1, Dunfermline 1.
Forest Green 1, Grimsby Town 0 is the latest score in League 2. Origi waits to come on. Aston Villa 1, Bournemouth 2, Brighton 1, West Ham 1. Everton still lead Watford by 1-0. Norwich City 3, Newcastle United 0. A Pukki hat-trick at Carrow Road. Liverpool lead by 2-0. Sports Report is on its way.
They've been fantastic second half. They've moved the ball so much quicker, and they've got the ball forward. They've got it to their dangerous players, and those 3 up front have been different players. Alexander-Arnold just pulling back Djenepo, and that will be a yellow card to the England international, as now Liverpool will make the change. Remember, in the Ashes, England had a first innings lead of just 8 after Australia were dismissed for 250. TMS coverage continues on 5 Live Sports Extra. Mo Salah is the player who makes way for Origi. Scunthorpe United 2, Crawley 2 is the latest score in League 2. Let's go back to Brighton. Update, Tony Husband.
Where it is 1-1 with 10 minutes to play. Brighton are going to feel like they've dropped 2 points if they don't capitalise on all the chances they've had, and they've been bold now. Mope and Andoni on as substitutes. 1-1.
Southampton plays the ball forward with Ishida across to that far side, which Valerie will stroke back. Bednarak just short of the halfway line. Southampton playing from right to left as Inks plays it out to Valerie. Crosses into the penalty area towards Redmond. Adrian makes the save from Matip's outstretched foot. Flying save by the Liverpool goalkeeper away to his left, behind for a corner kick. Very agile.
Very, very nearly a well taken own goal, to be honest. His body shape then and his position, when they played it wide, the two centre-halves were too flat, Ian, to defend it. You don't want to be going towards your own goal, and that's what he ended up doing, and nearly scored an own goal.
He was extremely alert, was Adrian now, as he waits inside that 6-yard area. Corner kick for Southampton. It's an outswinger, headed away by Matip, comes to Redmond. He's put that one well wide. That was a wayward effort from Nathan Redmond, and that will be a goal kick. We have just over 10 minutes remaining. Where will we go then now? And it's Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Pat Murphy.
Good decision, Ian. We've got quarter of an hour to go plus added time, and this could be a very interesting period because they have the wind in the sails now, Villa. Jota has come on for Anwar El Ghazi, and Harry Wilson got the second goal. He's limped off to be replaced by Solanke. The siege is on for Bournemouth now. They've got to dig in. The crowd have stayed with Villa. It's Villa 1, Bournemouth 2.
Cheers, Pat. Liverpool on the attack have a throw in about 10 yards up from the corner flag. We'll go to Goodison now. Juliet Ferrington.
It's become scrappy, this one. Troy Deeney closest to an equaliser for Watford in the second half, denied by the face of Pickford. Danny Welbeck, though, on for Watford, getting his Premier League debut for them, replacing Will Hughes. But they're under the cosh. Everton raced into an early lead. They still lead, though, by 1-0.
Alexander-Arnold with a throw on the right, level the penalty area. Liverpool lead by 2-0. We'll have regular updates from the Etihad. Manchester City against Tottenham, 5:30. They're underway at the Etihad. Into Sports Report and 6:06. Tomorrow we'll have Sheffield United, Crystal Palace. Chris Wilder's side, very impressive last week at Bournemouth. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff. Chelsea, Leicester City, another commentary in 5 Live Premier League Sunday from 4:30. And at Monday night we're at Molineux. Wolves against Manchester United with another live game. More live games in the Premier League than any other UK broadcaster. As we'll run through the latest scores in all the various divisions very, very soon, as Liverpool just trying to see this game out now, leading by 2-0. That Mane goal, really, when you think back, Tony Pulis, was crucial, wasn't it, for Liverpool, because Southampton had the better of the first half as Origi comes forward on that far side.
They've just come out a different team. They're on their front foot. They've got the ball forward quicker. They've played through the pitch, whether it's long or small passes. They've had people running off the ball. They look like they are a very, very good side.
So latest scores then in League 2. Bradford City 3, Oldham 0. Carlisle United 0, Mansfield 2. Colchester and Cambridge 1-1. Crewe lead Walsall by 1-0. Exeter 1, Swindon Town 0. Before today, both of those two sides had won their opening game, so something had to give there at St James's Park, as the ball is played out by Robertson to Origi. Origi on the left-hand side. Origi waits to deliver. He rolls it in field to Fabinho, intercepted by Redmond. Back towards Armstrong, the substitute. Forward ball now towards Nathan Redmond. Southampton trail 2-0, but he's marshalled out of play by Wijnaldum, and as the ball goes forward for Armstrong to chase, it allows Van Dijk just to tidy up at the back. So back to Lee. Adrian with the attempted clearance, and Danny Ings with a very fortuitous goal, a lifeline out of absolute nothing. Southampton 1, Liverpool 2.
Well, the goalkeeper all game hasn't looked that brilliant when the ball's been at his feet, and that's been that was well, he won't want to look back at that, Ian.
The ball was played back to him. It just looked like it was a routine clearance. He controlled it, and then Adrian just hit it low straight at Ings. There was no elevation, and in fact you can see how annoyed he is. He's just got to punch the air in frustration and annoyance with himself. It looked like it was going to be such a routine clearance. I actually started giving out the other scores in League 2. And Danny Ings against his former club all of a sudden has made it interesting here now at St Mary's with 7 minutes to play.
Now it becomes interesting.
Well, Adrian with the mistake. And Ings, well, he had the easiest of tasks against his former club. That will really, really annoy Adrian. He will not want to see that again, and now that will give a lift here to Southampton, because it just looked like Liverpool were marshalling out the closing stages, closed the game out. 3 points were safe. Not so much now. That was a late challenge on Oxlade-Chamberlain. So Crewe 1, Walsall 0, Exeter 1, Swindon 0, Forest Green 1, Grimsby 0, Leyton Orient 0, Stevenage 0, Morecambe Cheltenham is goalless, Newport still lead Plymouth by 1-0, Northampton 1, Macclesfield 1, Salford City 0, Port Vale 1, Scunthorpe 2, Crawley Town 2. They're the latest scores in League 2. Let's get an update from Lords. Ellie.
The England second innings is underway. They started with a lead of 8 runs. They now lead by 15. Rory Burns is on 7. Jason Roy yet to get off the mark. This has been a day in which we saw a spell of fiery fast bowling from Jofra Archer, which ended up with Steve Smith having concussion tests in the pavilion here at Lords, where we see a response from Pat Cummins and Josh Hazlewood. England 7 without loss in their second innings.
Commentary continues with the TMS team. 5 Live Sports Extra. In-play highlights available through the BBC Sport website. Southampton 1, Liverpool 2. Ishida goes long. Redmond brings the ball under control. Offside.
How goals change games, Ian. And that was so sloppy by the goalkeeper. It was absolutely frightening. But first half he showed signs of making mistakes when he had the ball at his feet.
Latest scores in League One. Well, the result was Sunderland 2, Portsmouth 1. Latest scores: Wimbledon 1, Accrington 1. Blackpool lead Oxford 2-1. Burton 0, Rotherham 1. Coventry 2, Bristol Rovers 0. Doncaster 2, Fleetwood 2. Lincoln are hammering Southend United 4-0. Peterborough 2, Ipswich 1. They were behind. Shrewsbury 0, Rochdale 0. Tranmere Rovers 5, Bolton Wanderers 0. Wickham 2, MK Dons 2. They're the latest scores in League One. Championship scores to come here in the Premier League. Southampton looking for an equaliser. Cleared though by Van Dijk for Liverpool. Brought down and then Højbjerg across towards that far side. Southampton have to go back. Bednarak will open it up from the shadows of the stand on the far side to Vestergaard. Now on this near side, the debutant coming forward for Southampton. Genepo. Ball over. Man over is Valery. Chance to low ball in. England a double. No, it just goes wide. He slams his foot into the advertising hoardings, and as he ran in at the near post, all he had to do was to guide it. It looked like it was a certain equaliser, and it runs inches wide of the far post, and Liverpool's lead is still intact.
Well, that's some miss, Ian. Again, he won't want to be looking back at that very often.
You can actually hear the groans from the Southampton supporters as it was shown again on the big screen at either side of the stadium here, either ends. 4 minutes remain of normal time. Southampton are back in the game, and they're being backed now by this vocal Southampton crowd here inside St Mary's. In fact, you could argue they should be level with that chance for Ings. Ball played forward. Latest scores in the Championship: Barnsley 2, Charlton 1. Blackburn Rovers 1, Middlesbrough 0. Brentford 1, Hull 1. Bristol City 2, QPR 0. Luton 1, West Bromwich Albion 2. Millwall leads Sheffield Wednesday by a goal to 0. Nottingham Forest 3, Birmingham 0. Stoke 2, Derby County 2. Southampton on the attack, sliding challenge by Robertson, up in the air, only half cleared away by Wijnaldum, headed away by Mane. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain header is headed back by Højbjerg. Header tennis at the minute, Matip's header. Then it comes to the feet of Højbjerg and he lifts it out to Genepo on this near side. Mane then will make the challenge. He got the ball first. Southampton supporters will argue, but that was a challenge where he got the ball first. The Senegal international, and the clearance then comes away. Stoke 2, Derby 2, Swansea 3, Preston 2, and Wigan 0, down to 10 men. Leeds United 2. Leeds United are going top of the Championship after 3 games. How much more remains here? 2.5 minutes of normal time. Genepo has stayed down.
I'm with you, Ian. I think it was a good challenge. He's played the ball first and he's played it well.
Coventry City 2, Bristol Rovers 0 is now our latest score in League One. The Southampton physio is on. The Southampton players, 4, 5 of them are coming for some liquid refreshment. Liverpool players are also taking some water and energy drinks on board for these closing stages. Mane and Firmino. We have just over 2 minutes remaining. Aston Villa 1, Bournemouth 2, Brighton 1, West Ham 1.
Henderson's coming on, Ian.
Henderson turned the game around when they met here in April, didn't he, as a substitute with James Milner last season. Everton 1, Watford 0, Norwich 3, Newcastle 0. Latest scores in the Premier League. All the reaction in Sports Report, and then you can have your say in 606. And who will Henderson replace? It's Oxlade-Chamberlain. So Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is still yet to score against the Saints since he left. He began his career here. 10 goals in 43 appearances. In 14 games now, he's yet to score against them. But Jordan Henderson coming on to the field of play. Just for some much-needed energy and know-how for Liverpool in the closing stages. How much added on time there will be as Henderson helps it on its way downfield. Vestergaard returns the ball back in. That light hand ball from Redmond. Referee
He gives that one.
Oh, he gives that one. He actually, yes, quite right. That was handball by Redmond. I thought at first he'd given it to Southampton.
No. He gave it for handball. He was late doing it.
He was late
he gave it.
And once again, the Southampton supporters complain and bemoan the referee of Andre Mariner. However, correct decision from Andre Mariner. We're inside the 60 seconds.
Don't say that too loud.
No.
Not with these people around us, Ian.
It's all right. You're a former Portsmouth manager. They'll come to you before me.
Whisper it.
We'll find out how much added on time there will be on BBC Radio 5 Live as Southampton see the ball back to Angus Gunn. There's been a number of substitutions, so they normally allow 30 seconds for that. Djenepo on this near side now closed down by Alexander-Arnold. Liverpool still lead by 2-1. Southampton playing from right to left, out towards that far side. Now it's fed forward to Armstrong. Level the penalty area right-hand side. Valerie. Højbjerg midway through the Liverpool half. 4 minutes of added on time, up towards Ings. It's a fortuitous goal that allowed Southampton back into the game. Liverpool have to hang on. They might have tired legs, they might have tired minds, but 3 points would be a much needed tonic after Istanbul in midweek to add to their Super Cup success, as that ball really kicked onto the chest of Djenepo. That was an acrobatic fall, but he wins a free kick as Mane in the challenge. And that'll be a free kick to Southampton. Will quickly nip to Macclesfield, to Northampton. Hamish.
Well, Macclesfield are winning by 2-1. They may not have sold Campbell, but it looks like they're going to get the 3 points. Theo Archibald has scored the goal in the 90th minute. 4 minutes of stoppage time to play.
Thank you, Hamish. So added on time, and we're already into the first of the minimum of 4. Southampton 1, Liverpool 2, Aston Villa 1, Bournemouth 2, Brighton 1, West Ham 1, Everton have a slender lead against Watford 1-0, Norwich City the points are safe, 3-0 up through that Pukki hat-trick. Ward-Prowse then with the free kick on this left-hand side, just in from the touchline, right-footed, goes towards the near post, inside the 6-yard area. Nobody could get the telling touch, nobody could get the connection, and Liverpool have cleared the ball away. Played back in, poor ball by Valerie. Liverpool on the break. It's with Robertson going through the centre circle and the red and white striped shirts, but Liverpool win it back midway through the Southampton half. Valerie again was sloppy. Mane was more alert.
I'm not sure Henderson will do anything but go back and keep the ball.
No, they just need to keep the ball now, Liverpool. Morton have produced a fight back in the Scottish League Cup. Hibs 3, Morton 3 is the latest score at Easter Road. Liverpool recycle the ball, work it out towards this near side. Alexander-Arnold got stuck underneath his feet there. He wasn't happy with not much movement there from Origi. It's all happening on 5 Live Sport. Wicket at the cricket at Lords. Ellie.
Jason Roy is out for 2. A caught and bowled by Pat Cummins, just lobbed one up. Not quite sure how he didn't see it. 9 for 1 is the England score. 17 runs is the lead.
Yes, a first innings lead of 8 after Australia were dismissed for 250. Liverpool now have a corner kick in added on time here in the sunshine. A goal at Carrow Road. John, make it quick.
Consolation for Newcastle. John Joe Shelby's just curled one in. Norwich 3, Newcastle 1.
Cheers, John. Everton 1, Watford 0, Brighton 1, West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1, Bournemouth 2. Liverpool then with a corner kick here. And fastest goal service on a Saturday afternoon here on 5 Live.
You wait, they'll take their time. I'm not sure this will go in the box.
Under 90 seconds of added on time remain. The corner is taken short on this right hand side. Mane then looks to try and wriggle away from Redmond. Was he fouled? No, says the referee. Armstrong now brings the ball out of his own penalty area, turns and feeds the ball short to Redmond. Redmond strikes it long, looking for the run of Ings. Matip did well. Matip just headed the ball to cushion that header back towards Robertson, and now Wijnaldum takes over. It's finished at the Amex. Brighton and Hove Albion 1, West Ham United 1. That is a full-time score from across the south coast. Here we are at St Mary's, and Liverpool are now trying to see out time. Under 60 seconds remain, and Liverpool lead by 2-1. Alexander-Arnold forward. Will the winning run continue, or will there be a sting in the tail? Djenepo on this near side to Redmond. Redmond challenged by Fabinho, stretches into the challenge and forces the ball out of play for a Southampton throw. Under 30 seconds remain. They have to take it quickly. Redmond urges Vestergaard exactly to do that. Vestergaard now with the throw. Djenepo takes it on the chest with his back to goal. Redmond on this near side, the left, just in from the touchline. Has to go long for Southampton. Yoshida obliges. Long, searching diagonal ball. Valerie controls it right-footed. Valerie with a cross. and it loops into the air and it's caught by Adrian, and he'll hold on to it. Tony Pulis.
I wouldn't put it on the floor and try and kick it if I was him.
No, that is an area where he's looked at times uncomfortable, and it was an area where he was at fault at that led to Southampton reducing the arrears. But Liverpool, by my watch now, have seen out the 4 minutes.
That's it.
And Liverpool's winning sequence does continue. It's finished here at St Mary's. Southampton 1, Liverpool 2, and another wicket at the cricket at Lords. Eleanor Oldroyd.
And Joe Root is out first ball.